2 years contract if you take the team to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. And this morning I'm asking a very simple question. Have your hopes picked up following this announcement? Are you confident that we get into that tough group, Panama, Croatia, England, and we blow the entire world into smithereens, right? We get our acts together so well and so right, all of us end up surprised. There's a big question that I'm asking. What do you make of the appointment of the new head coach? Share that with us via Facebook as well as on YouTube where we're streaming, and we'll get the details and do the reading for you. In the meantime, there's a new poll out by Global Info Analytics. It's going around with a lot of discussions in and around it, right? And so the NDC chair, Johnson Asedun Ketia, following a poll of some 10,400 delegates, and these are individuals who will be voting to elect a flag bearer. They say he's their pick to lead the party in the 2028 elections. Ghanaians, we love our politics, so bits and pieces of that as well. There's a mention of the finance minister in that mix. We'll give you those details. But there's a worrying story of pastor and some 2 other individuals caught attempting to bury a baby alive. And that has got a lot of people as well sharing their opinions and talking greatly. But we're going to get into all of that right now for you with the newspaper review. Remember, by the way, that second pricing window with which we're expecting the removal of some taxes is in the offing. Thursday, so 2 days away from now, that second pricing window is supposed to kick in. We'll get a fair share or a fair sense of what it's looking like in terms of prices. As we know that prices on the world market hasn't eased. But most certainly, big story developing today. As freight forwarders across the entry points of the country say they are ditching all work for the next 4 days because of the rollout of the Publican AI system at the country's port, which they say is overvaluing goods and is increasing the amount of duty they have to pay. So a lot of conversations around that. We'll get into all of it for you this morning. We're expecting to hear from the minority on this development. The GRA boss, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, as well, has been speaking to this. He in fact put out a video yesterday explaining the reasons and why they believe this rollout is the best. Right, it's the best for the country because in about 2 weeks they were able to raise 1.2 billion cedis extra revenue. And so that is really one of the many things we're getting into this morning. Let me start off with the papers for you. Johnnie Hughes as well on standby to help us do that. The Daily Guide, not the Daily Graphic, I'll get into the Daily Graphic pretty shortly. The Daily Guide, big banner story this morning. Government agric reset gains momentum. Ministry of Food and Agriculture sent to sign landmark agreement. What is that agreement? So we'll seek to get details of it for you. Pastor, 2 others caught burying baby alive. NDC flag bearer race. Asiedun Ketia leads with 29%, as according to reports by the Global Info Analytics. And philanthropist Alhaji Fuzak donates bars to Ambaria Sunni community. There's no back page story for the Daily Guide, and so we'll move it along. Daily Graphic next. Government rolls out free primary health care. 150 districts targeted for phase 1. It's a big banner story. Comes with the Health Minister Kwabena Minta Kando, who was at the Government Accountability Series yesterday. Queen Mother calls for Adjura suspension, but Kronte Hene says no. Also on the front page of the Daily Graphic. And so MOFA, that's the Food and Agric Ministry, Central Group signed fertilizer production pact. Yes. More of such is what we're seeking to hear. So in all of the refinery business, there's fertilizer. And for a very long time, we've not had Tor doing great business and all of that. And so we've not been able to get details of it. But we understand that Central Group, which is also a refinery here in the country, have just signed a pact with the Food and Agric Ministry to have fertilizer come our way, and so that's great news. I will get the details of it for you. GFA turns to World Cup veteran Queiroz as Black Stars coach. That story is on the back page, and perhaps that's one of the many areas from which we will start from this morning. And if you go to the back page, that is actually the big banner story there. GFA turns to World Cup veteran Queiroz as Black Stars coach. The story is by Morris Kwanzaa, and they are describing it as a bold last-minute call in the bid to rescue a faltering World Cup campaign, appointing seasoned Portuguese coach Carlos Queiroz as head coach of the Black Stars, just weeks before the 2026 FIFA World Cup kicks off on June 11. The 73-year-old arrives with immediate responsibility, stepping into the role just weeks before Ghana faces Panama on June 17. And the global showpiece kicks off on June 11 as the Ghana Football Association opts for experience and a tactical discipline in a moment of mounting pressure. I am waiting to hear from the analysts what they make of Queiroz. So there is a World Cup record of him. So the countries he managed Portugal since 91 to 93. He took South Africa from 2000 to 2002. Returned to Portugal from 2008 to 2010. Then he assumed the reign for Iran between 2011 and 2019. He was Colombian head coach from 2019 to 2020. Then he was head coach for Egypt 2021 to 2022. He returned to Iran again 2022 to 2023. Then in 2023, he was coach for Qatar. And in the last few days, head coach of Oman 2025 to 2026. Now, in terms of his record, right? His record at the World Cup. 16 games at the World Cup. 16 games at the World Cup. He's won 4. He's drawn 4. He's lost 8. He said?
DJ Phil, he has a good song for you. This our new coach. We will listen to it briefly.
You know, when I was reading the 8, it sounded like A. He's won 8.
Breaking the A.
He's lost 8.
Yeah. Four.
Yeah.
Drew on 4, lost 8, scored 19 goals.
Conceded 19
goals.
Difference is 0 in terms of goals at the World Cup.
What we have to do for him to be able to come to the table I don't know. What we have to do for him.
The football people are the ones who more often than not can make a determination or make a decision.
We have to do something for Keto Crip.
They said the office is...
Sometimes it makes the thing...
Then I think you guys have to call him at Accra Academy. But we know... Yeah, you have to call him because...
When you leave the place, you have left the place.
No, but there's an old student union. There's an old student union. You have to sit him down and say, Senior Blow
and tell him
where you they handle the Black Stars, you know, because
but I think no they think. When you talk to the big boys tell you the challenge. You are the near FA to momoke for it, and they know the feed.
It's not. It's. Well, there are those who are confident. Yeah, there are those who are confident. And so yesterday when I was putting up a post on
and I
Twitter,
can imagine the pressure on his head now.
Oh,
pressure on his head now that a challenge.
Have you heard him speak in post-game analysis and all that? He fears no fool.
No, Egbeta inshallah.
Oh, the man was at the 2022 World Cup and was telling Iranian fans it is better for them to...
Was not at the World Cup himself?
No, I'm saying 2022, the last edition.
Was not at the World Cup.
No, the last World Cup Asamoah was not with us.
I'm saying Asamoah has ever been.
Yes. He's been to the World Cup. He missed a penalty.
He did not talk tough.
He did.
Oh, what are you talking about?
So you're saying that good people of Ghana will humble him? Eh?
I didn't say that. I'm saying that he should talk. We will wait.
So he's been speaking. This is not just another job.
DJ Phil, find me UCC.
It is a mission. I am ready to give everything of my experience and knowledge once again in service of the game and the happiness of people. Today I accept this mission with the same passion and commitments that have guided me throughout my career. Ghana is a nation of talent, pride, and footballing soul. I arrive with respect for its history and believe in its future. Together with unity, discipline, and ambition, we will work to honor the expectations of a great football nation.
The man is looking for pension route. Play the music. And so you are called remind me, Mawuena. What did he say?
Otuado.
Yeah.
He said a lot of things that we didn't have the quality.
Yeah.
He doesn't have players like Ellen Haaland and all of that to immediately get into a game, and then you're turning things around. And so this is the quality that we have. And so
that
was pretty much what the coach was telling us, and it didn't convince a lot of people, and so he got the boot. Does Carlos Queiroz, is a question I've been asking all throughout the morning, does he solve the technical side? Is what I'm getting into. Does he solve the technical side in terms of the concerns with the Black Stars? Is one of the many questions that I'm asking, and I'm hoping I can get a bit more from all of you who are tuned in this morning, following us on Facebook as well. Share your thoughts with us. Kofi Rich says good morning. Emil Smith also says good morning. Share your thoughts with us as to this new Black Stars coach, your impressions of him and your expectations as well of him for the World Cup. But while we wait to do that, we can get into the rest of the other papers this morning as well.
The Ghanaian Times this morning says that medical equipment ready for free primary health care, according to Minister Kwabena Mensah-Kando, who's also MP for Dwaboso, and says Vimag DVLA move to settle contract dispute out of court. PIAC warns of oil production decline, calls for urgent action to reverse the trend. As all Ministry of Food and Agriculture sent to sign a great deal. On the back page, we have Health Minister moves to clear stuck family planning supplies at port. Family planning.
Yeah.
And the stuck at the port. How are people planning their families? Africa prepares common ICT position ahead of WATSA 2028 on the front page of the New Finder newspaper. IMF warns Middle East energy shock will weigh on global growth. That's on page 9 of the New Finder newspaper. New Black Stars coach will see Naso Pesosa. Congrats. Sub-Saharan Africa's growth holds on at 4.1%, according to the World Bank. And low interest rates keep investors away from treasury bills. Analysts wants young entrepreneurs problem into business opportunities. They are turning that into it. That's what I have here, Mawuena.
Absolutely. Let's get into the details of the papers. I want to start us off from page 13, and there's a particular interest as to why, because the Ministry of Food and Agriculture of the Daily Graphic, because the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has signed a fertilizer production pact with the Sentio Group. The story is by Kester Abraham Cranchi. It reads that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has signed a memorandum of understanding with Sentio Group Limited to accelerate large-scale agro-processing, value addition, and fertilizer manufacturing in Ghana. The MOU provides a framework for developing industrial-scale processing plants for key commodities such as cashew, maize, rice, soybean, and oil palm. It also integrates packaging, quality control, storage, and export systems to strengthen Ghana's competitiveness in the global market. In addition, the partnership includes the creation of a national fertilizer manufacturing plant and integrated input supply to reduce Ghana's heavy dependence on imported fertilizer and ensure a stable, affordable supply for farmers nationwide. Now, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, signed on behalf of the government, or the group chairman of Sentio Group, Ningquan Chu, signed for the company. Now, the agreement aligns with President Mohammed's vision of repositioning the country from a raw commodity exporter to a fully integrated agro-industrial economy. At the core of the partnership is the establishment of modern agro-processing facilities. I'm looking for timelines, right? So, under the 2026 national budget, the government allocated 272,000 tons of fertilizer for nationwide distribution. The Central Partnership is expected to complement these And so it's all good, but I am yet to see timelines. I said the story continues on page 16, but still no clear date as to when mobilization and all of that happens. It's great. I mean, I was saying that we've been a long time. Fertilizer is one of the fertilizer for
the things that we
it's one of the byproducts you can actually get from
flaring gas.
Yes, from the refining of crude. And so for a very long time we've not, it appears we haven't taken advantage of that, and we've consistently been on the receiving end in terms of imports. There's great import dependency. And so when the Russia-Ukraine war hit in 2022, that was one of the big talking areas for not just Ghana but the entire world, that we will not get fertilizer for our agricultural inputs. So this is in the right direction. I almost always have the challenge with timelines as to, this is fantastic, when is it coming on stream? Yes, we signed the MOU, then timelines are coming through so that we can begin to realize all of this as well.
So page 9 of the New Finder newspaper says that sub-Saharan Africa's growth holds at 4.1% according to the World Bank, and they're warning, and it's literally telling us that the issues around the Middle East, Iran, Israel, and the United States will come to affect us. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has cautioned that the ongoing conflict in the Middle East will drag global economic growth lower as disruptions to oil and gas supplies trigger strain trade flows and tighten financial conditions. This is what they have told us. This is what we don't understand around here. They say, oh, how can they jump A, B, C, D? But we said it in the past. Didn't we say that in the past? So why is it different now? Why? If we said it in the past and now it is happening now and we are saying it, why is it different? Well, maybe I don't know.
It's a daily reminder to check crude prices, and so this morning there's a marginal drop as we speak, from $103 per barrel. We're now down to below 100 at $98.
Charlie, but we have to also ask the question about the ceasefire and how many days is left for the 14 days to elapse.
That's a very important question, because even when the ceasefire is in place, the U.S. says they are sending mine destroyers into the Strait of Hormuz to deal with all of the landmines that Iran has planted in the waterways, which is having them have a stranglehold on the strait. And they said they are going to, on their own, cause a blockade outside of Iran's blockade, such that they will stop tanks and ships which pay any money to Iran.
Why is Donald Trump doing this? Let me not say what I want.
Yeah.
Why is Donald Trump doing this? Why?
It continues to be a subject matter of great disturbance. Great disturbance. But yeah, that's the latest in terms of keeping up with global trends and the war. Crude is down by minus 0.65%. But if you've monitored the market, you realize that this doesn't say anything at all, right? It doesn't say anything at all, and we could be back into the hundreds any moment from now in terms of prices. And why are we seeing what we're seeing today, this $97 per barrel on Tuesday, reversing the gains from the previous session, as reported, indicated by the U.S., because they are considering further negotiations aimed at securing longer-term ceasefire before the current 2-week truce expires. And President Trump stated that Tehran had initiated contact with Washington, while Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian signaled readiness to pursue continued dialogue provided it remains within the bounds of international law and regulations. Both sides failed to reach a deal after 21 hours of negotiations early on, is what we know. It will be interesting to as well know from the government's perspective, we're 2 days away, what the decision is on tariffs and possible taxes which are coming off the price build-up of petroleum products ahead of Tuesday. We still quite haven't gotten that yet. But this morning as well, I think we should be getting into a bit more into the details as to the latest from UTAG, and perhaps get a reaction from one or two in relation to the Black Stars as well. But UTAG is demanding that the Director General and Deputy Director General of GTEC, Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, be relieved of their current roles in order to restore confidence in the tertiary education sector and reset regulatory posture. What is the basis for this request? And why are they seeking to have the GTEC boss removed? They are making a number of demands, which include government must urgently operationalize the Education Regulatory Body Act 2020 through a clear and unambiguous legislative instrument, including mandatory consultative rulemaking, clear limit on interference, and internal governance as well.
Look, I don't think that UTAG is properly positioned to make this call. Professor Jinapo, that I know from the Central Region, having headed formative education unit at Central Region, is no mean an academic. Since Professor Jinapo came, and we have had people who have come to the fore to say, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. He's fact-checked them, and most of them have stopped using those titles. Why does University Teachers Association of Ghana think that at this point they have to step up and ask that they should be replaced? Replaced with who and for what?
Well, it's a question we'll take to them because they've joined us on the phone lines right now.
Don't block me. Let me finish, then they can answer. I'm asking. My first question is why must we take Professor Jinapo off? People are in this country proclaiming that they are doctors and professors when they are not. He came to open our eyes and told us that they are not indeed. And the people have, after he called them to order, stopped using those titles. Why must UTAG come then and come and tell them? Are we saying that those of us who are pursuing whatever we are pursuing, Mawuena, you and I, should now be happy with people taking on to themselves what they don't have? Is that what UTAG is saying? I want to hear UTAG's answer. People work in this country, call themselves prof, doc, and they don't have that. This man has come, he's working across regimes, and he says that I want to make sure that if you have not academically earned that, you do not use that. What is wrong with that? Let's UTAG answer.
Right, let me get onto the phone lines right now. Dr. Jerry Joe Hansen is General Secretary UTAG, is joining us via the phone lines this morning. Doc, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
Good morning. I am very well, thank you.
Great. What is the basis of UTAG's decision or this request to have Professor Jinapo removed from his position along with his deputy? What's the justification of the University Teachers Association of Ghana on a request like this?
Well, thank you very much, and let me say a very good morning to our listeners. Before I answer your question, let me quickly just respond to what your panelists just said. I think that it's misleading to create the impression that UTAG is saying that because Prof. Jinapo and his deputy are calling out people who have fake degrees or whatever titles, UTAG is against them for doing that. I think that nobody has made any statement, to that effect, to warrant that kind of comment. I think that when people are coming to make commentary on issues, they should stick with the facts. We released a press statement. In the press statement, we categorically indicated why we think that these people are not fit for the office. And so let's not people sit on radio and try to throw dust into people's eyes by claiming what UTAG has not claimed. But let me go to the point that, you see, there was an attempt to hand over the university management to politicians in what has now become the infamous Public Universities Act, which universities across the country rejected categorically. Now, this was back in 2019, thereabout, when COVID struck and people were trying to survive. This bill, which has come to be called the Act 1023, the Ghana Education Regulatory Act, whatever, came into being, that consolidated GTEC, consolidated the then Accreditation Board and the National Council for Tertiary Education into GTEC. And the first person to man that office was Professor Stalifu, whose deputy incidentally happened to be Ahmed, Jinapo. Now, in there are functions that were attributed to GTEC, because don't forget, the NTC was performing some functions and Accreditation Board was performing some functions. Nobody within UTAG circles has questioned the capacity of GTEC to be the sole institution to accredit programs in this university. Everything we have said, nobody has questioned the accreditation regime that GTEC undertakes. What we have taken exception to is that under the law, there are regulatory roles that are assigned to GTEC. There are accreditation roles. There are advisory roles that have been assigned to GTEC. What appears to be happening is that the people who are currently at the helm of affairs are confused as to what constitutes regulatory authority and what constitutes advisory authority and all that. And so what they are doing is that instead of following proper governance procedures in communicating and performing their regulatory functions, they have substituted themselves to be the governing councils of universities, issuing instructions to individuals and people within the higher educational space, encroaching on the autonomy of universities that is enshrined in the Constitution and which no act of Parliament can remove. And that is why we are saying that to the extent that these actions of removing people from office, demoting people, deciding whether people should be hired and not, does not constitute regulatory power. It is micromanaging of institutions, which impinges on the autonomy of institutions. And we've tried very hard to point out to them that under the law, GTEC has no power to sanction anybody. And that if they are invoking their regulatory authority, then the governance procedure that's been prescribed in Act 1023 is that GTEC must write or recommend to the minister for the minister to issue whatever instructions thereof. GTEC has no power to reverse the decision of any university council. And that if GTEC thinks that a university council has taken a decision that is contrary to any of the laws in this country, it is their job to write to the council and point out to them their mistakes and give them a chance to correct their mistakes. Imagine BOG waking up and withdrawing licenses of financial institutions in this country in the morning, and then the next day restoring them just because they have issued instructions that those companies have not obeyed. Just imagine how that's the chaos that's going to cause. This is what is happening. We have a whole University of Cape Coast, Volga Technical University, have their accreditations withdrawn at the whims of these individuals. How is that governance? Do you think that two individuals should be able to sit there and invoke the accreditation status, virtually removing the degree or making redundant or useless the degrees that people have earned from these universities, not because they are not duly accredited, but because somebody's ego needs to be massaged. Can you imagine how this country is going to be?
When you say egos being massaged and these specific matters, I want us to get into the specifics as to the encroachments that you speak of. And you've also said the revoking of accreditation licenses of universities. In what instances have we seen this play out? Because I'm going through right now the Education Regulatory Bodies Act, which includes GTEC, and trying to look at the functions and what is expected of the Director General of GTEC.
My brother, last year, the Vice Chancellor of University of Cape Coast was deemed to be 60 years at the time that his contract was renewed, and that under the statutes of the University of Cape Coast, he wasn't qualified to remain in office. I acknowledge that constituted a breach. Now, what did GTEC do? Instead of writing to the council of the university, telling them that by your own statutes, this individual whose birthday occurs after the academic year, for which reason he, under the regular arrangement, would retire the subsequent year, and the office holding, that consideration is not applicable. And so reverse your decision and put somebody in charge and all that. They didn't do that. August Nokulu signed a letter directing the Vice Chancellor then to hand over to his deputy. That, my brother, constitutes a breach, whether the council's decision was right or not.
But isn't GTEC the regulatory body and must ensure that the right thing is done? If in this same conversation you admit that indeed the Vice Chancellor had reached retirement age, the University Council was not taking action, what stops the regulatory body from writing to the university and saying, take action, or we take action on your behalf?
My brother, that's exactly the point I'm saying. It is not for GTEC to tell the guy to hand over. It is for GTEC, because they are supposed to ensure that the statutes and everything, the systems, the way the act says, they are supposed to ensure that these systems that have been put in place function. How do you ensure the system functions? The system functions by you writing to the university saying that this person, that person, based on records we have available, have attained the mandatory retirement age. Their continued existence in office constitute a breach of the law, and so council take a decision on that. That is what you do. What I'm saying is that you do not write to the person occupying that office who you didn't appoint in the first place and instruct him to hand over to his deputy. We are saying that constitutes a governance breach. Okay? We are not saying that GTEC has no power to write to the council and ask them to do the needful. But it is not right for GTEC to write to the individual who has been appointed by a council, duly constituted by law, for him to hand over to his deputy. They have no powers to do so. And on top of that, because the council, you see, there's a process. So, because the council didn't comply immediately, UCC's accreditation was withdrawn, all right, overnight.
What he wrote to the council subsequently. There wasn't a response.
I'm saying, my brother, the procedure is there. I'm saying that you don't write a letter that August Nokulu came before even writing to the council. I'm saying that
which has been established, and you've rightly mentioned that was a governance misstep. He subsequently wrote to the council. Was it not after the council failed to respond?
You have already asked the guy to step down without, because you disrespected the council by not giving them the chance to do what they're supposed to do. So what is the point of writing to the council to do what? But that is not even all. You see, because the council was delaying, they withdrew the UCC's accreditation. On the portal of GTEC, the list of accredited institutions did not include University of Cape Coast. He threatened to withhold the salaries of workers in contravention to every labor law you can make reference to. Which regulator in his right senses says that I'm going to withhold your salaries because your boss is misbehaving? I mean, Explain to me how you can justify the withholding of salaries of cleaners, okay, and groundsmen just because their bosses are not doing what is right. I am telling you that these are clear breaches of not just law, but procedure, which cannot be countenanced. And it is not just this one. Volga Technical University, the same thing happened because of a standoff between the leadership of GTEC and the university. Accreditation of the university was withdrawn. On what justifiable basis? Do you think that we should allow individuals to accredit and disaccredit institutions based on their own egos? Is that what we want in this country?
Have you picked up this matter? Have you picked up this matter in relation to the systems that exist? And I'm asking this because we're talking about governance missteps. So I asked the question, within the architecture and the framework within GTEC, have UTAG picked up this matter and raised it to demand an explanation and an answer as to why these governance missteps have continued in the way they have?
My brother, on many occasions, call VCG Ghana today. That's UTAG. It is not only UTAG that has even engaged GTEC in these matters. We have engaged GTEC together with the Vice Chancellor's Ghana on all these issues that we have raised. Okay? It is not that we woke up one day and decided that no, these people, we don't like them, we should go. We give us some credit. We are academics. We are reasonable people. And I'm saying that it's not just for a year or for 2 years. For as long as I've known, every time these matters have come up, we have engaged. Sometimes you get insults for raising legitimate questions.
Insults from who?
From them. I mean, it's on the record.
What you're saying? You're saying that the GTEC boss, Professor Jinapo, insults UTAG when you make demands or ask questions of him?
On many occasions, disrespected UTAG for stating contrary opinion to how they are doing their things. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say that because I've been in some of those meetings where those comments were made, where those postures were clearly exhibited.
Right, Doc, it's because I'm hammering on the insult bit, because you mentioned insult specific. For attitude and all of that, I wasn't there. I cannot obviously explain or narrate how it was. But when you say insult, you mean the GTEC boss openly insult and disrespect University Teachers Association of Ghana and their assigns in meetings seeking to address matters on governance misstep by GTEC?
My brother, I am going to put it on the record that on many occasions when we try to express contrary views on how these governance issues are being dealt with, we have been scornfully treated as UTAG. Scornfully treated as UTAG. And it is because of that, all that has been part of why, as we speak, agreements that we've reached with GTEC on how things should be done have not been signed. Call Jinapo right now and ask him, after VCG and UTAG met and discussed modalities on how we think that we should govern the higher education space, how we can collaborate and all that, and the agreement that we reached, whether GTEC has signed it, whether it has been operationalized, ask him, is that respect? After we've all sat down at a round table, discuss these matters in relation to how we can ensure that there's harmony on our campuses and how we can collaborate.
How long ago was this agreement that you signed? Because
I'm not saying agreement. I'm saying that we discussed and agreed on something that they needed to sign to operationalize, and they haven't.
Right. How long ago was this?
Was last year.
And the expectation would have been that it would have been rolled out by now.
I am saying that we had timelines. You see, when all these things were happening, we felt that, look, let's come together and have a framework within which we can all exist. Nobody's saying GTEC should not regulate higher education institutions. Nobody's saying that some institutions are not doing the wrong things. Nobody has said that. But within there's a structure that needs to be followed. We all sat down and discussed these issues and reached agreement, not just discuss the matter, and we reached agreement. We drafted the proposals that we had all agreed. All that needed to have happened was for GTEC to sign so that we can begin to have a structured way of interacting and making sure that when issues arise, we can deal with them. They haven't signed it. If call them and let them say that I am lying.
Right, Doc, would it be fair to say that all of this is because UTAG is simply displeased with the fact that someone has been able to call them out? A vice chancellor wanting to overstay, Professor Jinapo writes to the person directly and says, you can't stay, that's not practice. You're only getting back at him because he's seeking to insist that the right things be done. And UTAG, you're not pleased with it. That's why you're making this demand and issuing a 14-day ultimatum to government to sack him.
Not at all, my brother. The issues we raise, this is just one of the issues that we raise. We raise issues about post-retirement contract. You see, the university council, the university knows whose expertise it needs at any point in time. And that is why the governing councils have been given the power to make these determinations. And it is for administrative reasons that GTEC is supposed to sign off on it. When these documents get there, GTEC now decide that this person we don't want, this person we don't want, and all that. My brother.
What has been the collaboration on that?
No, I'm saying that we've only discussed one aspect of the many issues that we have.
Which we're getting into the second issue. And for every issue, I like for us to understand how things are done. So yes, the universities know which lecturers they need and will want to give post-retirement contracts, but GTEC has to sign off. When you take it there and you say, the professor says, this person I don't want, that person I don't want, has it not always been the practice, because you just told us that he signs off on those post-retirement contracts?
Well, you see, what I'm saying is that you must understand the issue of procedure, because there's a way of communicating with government. It goes through GTEC. But GTEC doesn't have the power to decide who qualifies or who doesn't, because this is a condition of service that has been duly negotiated by UTAG with government, okay? At which table GTEC is always invited. So what I'm saying is that, see, on university councils, GTEC serves. GTEC is serving on every university council to provide the regulatory oversight over there. So if a university council is taking a decision that constitutes a breach of the regulatory framework within which they are supposed to act, it is their GTEC rep on the council who is supposed to draw the attention of council to that decision. That is why if that council ends up making a wrong decision, GTEC would have the mandate to write to the council and explain to the council this and that and that and that. And so because of A, B, C, and D, your decision violates rule number so and so. So kindly retrace your steps. We are saying that it is not proper in terms of governance for GTEC to say that, well, this council took a decision A, I have reversed it because it is not consistent with regulation. That is a major flaw that we are saying, and we are saying that we've engaged GTEC on these matters to no avail.
Right. I just want to take you back. I just want to take you back briefly on the point you just made, that he withdraws the decision of the university's council because it doesn't fall in line with regulation.
That's
or that is what he says. Is it the case, or that is what he says? Is what I want us to clear out of the way, because there's a difference in if what he says is actually wrong and it is not what the regulation says. And yes, okay, you may have consent with the fact that there are reps of GTEC on the various university councils and they don't draw attention to what could be a misstep. But the final person who's supposed to sign off looks at it and says that, okay, this is going against the regulations, and so it has to be stepped down. There's a difference in if that is his sole decision and if that is actually what the regulation says. You'd agree?
So let me restate this so that it's clear in the minds of everybody. I am not admitting that these issues are necessarily breaches, but I'm saying that even if a council makes a decision that the regulator thinks it is not right, it is not the power of GTEC to reverse that decision. Okay? GTEC doesn't have the power to reverse that decision. The power GTEC has is to write to the council and tell the council that your decision breaches regulation A, B, and C. So kindly take a second look and revert. I think this is where we are not getting
right.
I am saying that even if a council makes a decision that goes contrary to a regulation, GTEC has no power to reverse it. The power GTEC has is to write to the council and point out to them, your actions constitute a breach of A, B, C, and D. So take a second look and revert. That is what we are complaining about. It is not that if a university is doing the wrong thing, they should. And I'm saying that under the act, that's not GTEC. If GTEC writes to the council and council refuses to do the needful, the GTEC has the power to recommend sanctions against the university to the minister. Okay, this is a communication channel. GTEC can recommend sanctions of any university to the minister. It is the minister who has the power to say, University A, we have been apprised of the fact that you did A, B, C, and D that breaches regulations C, D, and F. You have been given a chance to correct it. You have not. So I am applying sanction A, B, C, and D to you. It is not GTEC that has the power to do that. That is what I'm pointing out right now.
Right. Kindly wrap up so that I'll come in.
I'm saying this is what has been a contention. They think they have the powers to do what they are doing, but the regulations are clear. They don't.
Right. In what ways does the decision by GTEC, writing and asking the University of Ghana, for instance, not to charge students new fees, also come in here? Because I'm just receiving a message and someone is saying that, look, one of the many reasons why you are doing this is that he wrote to the University of Ghana and said, you are charging unapproved fees, reverse it. Otherwise, I will take action against you. And it's one of the many reasons why you're on this tangent. You charged illegal fees. GTEC wrote to you and made it public that, look, reverse it by X dates or action be taken against you. And all of that culminating to perhaps one of the reasons why we're here and we're having this conversation.
Well, thank you very much. It's interesting. So, one, this if I were a GTEC boss, when that incident happened, I would have resigned. You know why? GTEC boss told the whole world that the UG is charging unapproved fees. Okay? Now, GTEC boss has direct access to the management of the university. They never try to reach out to find out whether that statement is true. When fees are going to be charged, fees are approved by council. And I'm saying that the council has GTEC rep on that council. And so if you think that a fee is going to be charged, that fee has to be approved by council. Now, in this instance, what turns out to be happening was the LSRC doing a project and having gone through their own consultative process had increased the SRC dues, not fees. You see, people are mischievous when it comes to these matters. UG never increased any school fees. Jinapon knows that UG had requested for fee increase, which he had turned down without going to Parliament. If he actually took the letter that UG sent to Parliament, he provide evidence that indeed he went to Parliament and Parliament said they are not willing to increase school fees. There are many people within the chain who do not know that UG actually pleaded with government for some increase in the school fees. Having turned down that, he goes round and says that UG, you are charging unapproved fees, and so reverse it by whatever date. Let Amajinapo tell me, show me which part of his regulation gives him power to ask universities to reverse even school fees increase. Let the person who sent you, let the person point out to me which part of GTEC's act gives them power to do so. But I'm saying that that statement turned out to be hoax because UG had never increased school fees. The LSRC and grassroots dues that were increased were not increased by the university. The university doesn't have control over LSRC dues or grassroots dues. The university is only a conduit for collecting those monies and ensuring that the students use it the right way.
But
the only
an argument can be made that SRC executive, GRASAC executives, they sit on the university council, and so that would have come up for a conversation.
They before any such act happen, they have a senate. It has to go through all that before it gets to the dean of students, gets to university management, for everybody to sign up on it before it even comes to council. And at council, they have to justify, why they want to increase. For example, in this instance, the students are saying that, look, government is not providing enough hostel facilities for us. We as students, we are willing to levy ourselves a one-time, payment and put up a hostel which we will not enjoy, but which our younger brothers and sisters will come and enjoy. If you sit on the university council and the students come up and say, this is what we want to do, and this is why we allow us to charge a one-time premium for us to be able to put up such a hostel to ease the burden of government. Don't forget, it is government's responsibility to provide these things, which government is not doing. So let's help ease the government's burden, because after all, government has taken us through school, through the free SHS program. Government is giving us free first year, school fees refund and all that. So allow us to help ease government's burden by charging ourselves, a token, which we are going to use to put up a hostel that other Ghanaian students will come and enjoy. My brother, what is wrong with that?
But it has to go through a process.
Why you think this is wrong? That council should have rejected it. And so if you, Ahmed, had an issue with it, why didn't he find out what is the nature of fees that UG was charging? Why do you go and say that UG is charging unapproved fees and so it must reverse it? SRC dues is not school fees. Grassroots dues is not school fees. I beg you. And I know that they know exactly what they were doing. You see, so look, when you intentionally damage the international reputation of institutions that you are supposed to regulate, you are being mysterious.
Well, so that brought international disrepute to the University of Ghana.
Absolutely. You think that an institution that is rogue? You see, people don't get these things. If you are a funded agency and you are giving money to institutions that are not regulated, institutions that can wake up and disrespect government regulations and all that, do you think that institution is worth dealing with? What they don't know is that these things, they do it for fun because they don't really think about it deeply. But these things damage the international reputations of universities. Withdrawing accreditation at the whims of somebody, accusing universities of breaching regulations, it doesn't augur well for our international image. People come here. Christina Cook, do you think that if the University of Ghana was this rogue, Christina Cook, who is now being an ambassador of Ghana, going to space and putting Ghana flag there, she would have been proud to be attending the University of Ghana? Do you think that she would have been proud if the University of Ghana were this rogue? We should be serious in this country for once, that you cannot do things out of malice. It was a malicious thing that he did, and he knows it, because if he wasn't sure, he could have picked the phone and called Professor Nanaba and asked, VC, I am hearing that you've charged unapproved fees. Is that the case? Is that not the case? He's a good friend to Professor Wandare. He could have called, even if he couldn't get VC, he could have called Pro VC, Professor Wandare, and asked. It was mischievous that he put out that statement. Why should a regulator be interested in tarnishing the reputation of a university?
Two quick questions from me in relation to this, and then perhaps we can wrap it up. When you say malice, because it's not just the University of Ghana we're talking about the University of Cape Coast, what possibly could be malice on the side of the GTEC boss against universities he's supposed to be regulating? What possibly could be malice?
No. So let me put my statement in context. In the UG case is what I'm talking about. The UG, he indicating that UG was charging unapproved fees without finding out from management whether that was true. I think I'm saying it's malicious, because he could have easily asked and be told that this is not the case, and he didn't. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the UCC case.
Right.
I have not ascribed malice to what happened at UCC.
Right. 14 days is the ultimatum you're giving government. What happens in that 14 days if nothing happens and he continues to be in his position?
Well, we have so many arsenals at our disposal already. The Ministry of Education has set up a 3-member committee to investigate the allegations of, what the UTAG is saying, which, is a bit unfortunate, because before we sent the petition to the president, we went to his office and we told him, and he said he was going to do this. He didn't do it. Now he's done it. So some action is being taken in the first place. But let me tell you, and let me put on a record, GTEC cannot function without UTAG. The accreditation that GTEC does, a lot of consultations and all that GTEC does, that makes its work tick, is done by UTAG members. And so if UTAG were to say that we have withdrawn all services to GTEC, they are crippled. Okay, so we have so many arsenals that we can deploy, to make sure that, these people are out of office. Because, you see, there was somebody there in the GTEC office, Professor Salifu, whose deputy happened to be Ahmed Jinapor. We never had this chaos in higher educational space. So let's not create the impression that it is because of the act. It is because of these individuals. And it's because they fail to listen to anybody. They think what they are doing is right, and therefore they will do whatever they like. But that is not right. Within the law, GTEC must be the one upholding institutional autonomy. GTEC must be the one advising government to increase clearance for university lecturers to be recruited. They have set a threshold for student-lecturer, ratio. When you point it out to them, that one, they are mute about it. They are supposed to be the one looking for money for higher education institutions to run, or at least help universities raise money to run. They are not doing any of those things. And so if you tell me that because they are going after people with fake degrees, we should all be rising up and clapping for them, yes, it's part of their job that they are supposed to do. But it's not the core business they are supposed to be doing.
Right.
And so we are just saying that, well, if push comes to shove, we all know what will happen.
Right.
We have laid our issues bare. We need an ally to regulate the Act 1023. We have made that clear to the minister, and we are making that demand because that will ensure that whoever occupies the office next, doesn't misbehave. That's one of the demands that we make. We take decisions based on what our members, say, and therefore we will consult our members and deploy the right mechanisms if unfortunately the ultimatum is not needed.
Doc, I'll just ask you to hold the line for me briefly so that Johnnie was my colleague who was making the comment earlier, and he wants just one right of response in terms of the perspective on this matter, Johnnie.
Sure.
Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
You are not Prof. I called you Prof. You answered that you are Prof. This is what GTEC has been trying to fight. And that is where some of us who are also aspiring for higher knowledge look at. Number two, I am not a panelist, I'm a journalist. Now, I hold in my hand a document that's about authored on the 13th of April 2026 from the Ministry of Education. It's a press statement, actually. Honorable Minister for Education established 3-member committee to investigate allegations by the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Now, it says 1, the Ministry of Education has taken notice of the concerns raised by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, at the recent press conference. 2, the Honorable Minister for Education has formed a 3-member committee to investigate UTAG allegation and related matters and make appropriate recommendation for Excellency John Dramani Mahama. 3, the committee is chaired by the Deputy Minister for Education, Honorable Clement Apak, is Doctor, PhD, and composed of Professor George K.T. Odro, Technical Advisor to the Minister of Education, or Ministry of Education, and the Board Chairman of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, Professor Mahama Duejua. 4, the Ministry wishes to appeal to all parties concerned to extend their full cooperation to the committee as it undertakes the important assignment. We remain committed to constructive dialogue and to resolve all outstanding issues in the best interest of tertiary education in Ghana. Signed by Hashmin Mohammed, Press Secretary to the Honorable Minister of Education. What have you to say about this?
Well, I thank you. Let me also say that at no place have I indicated I'm a prof. I think that from the beginning, when your colleague addressed me as a prof, I indicated to him that I'm a doctor.
But I addressed you as prof and I greeted you and you said, good morning,
but
prof.
What I'm saying is that, you see, so we're not supposed to interrupt you and say, no, doc. I mean, so just for the record, I'm not interested in titles. If you ask those who know me, I don't like being addressed as doc. I hate it. I mean, with passion for that matter.
I'm not angry.
Oh, no,
I'm not agitated either. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that we are all humans. We are fallible. Things can happen.
I totally understand. And I'm saying that I'm not taking offense. I'm just saying that, just for the record's sake, if I ascribe myself to that, then you could use that to accuse me of something. But I also mentioned that in my discussion that before we submit a petition to the presidency, so maybe what hasn't come out clear is that more than a month ago, UTAG submitted a petition to the Office of the Chief of Staff to the presidency on these matters. We never invited the media because we wanted the matter to be settled quietly. Before we did that, we went to the Minister for Education and complained to him about these issues and what actions we are going to take. And he promised that he would set up a committee to look into these issues. So, well, we are not surprised that he set up the committee, but I'm saying that before long, these issues have been in the public domain for a very long time. And so I am more than convinced that there have enough evidence to deal with this matter without even setting up a committee. But if, for procedural sake, you want to set up a committee, fact-finding, whatever it is, to probe, the issues, I mean, the facts are there. We have no difficulty cooperating, with a committee to ensure that these things we are talking about, are highlighted. The letters that they've been written, there are copies all over the place, and GTEC Act is there for everybody to read and understand. And we think that these are, so yeah, we as UTAG, we don't have any difficulty cooperating with the committee. All that we are saying is that these issues have been there, not today, not yesterday, they've been there for a very long time. Many of them have had cause to worry about some of the decisions and action that these people have taken. And so we are ready whenever they are ready. But unfortunately, the ultimatum, still holds.
So if somebody says that you have a personal issue with Professor Jinapor, that's why you're going on this route, what do you say?
I am speaking for UTAG. I'm not speaking for myself. If I had a personal issue with him, maybe I'll invite him to some corner and then we'll fight it out. There's no reason for me to be in the media.
Oh, you fight too?
I don't know the man personally. I don't see how I can have a personal issue. He hasn't done anything personally to me. I mean, unless you can show that he's done something personally to me. He hasn't done anything personally to me.
Doc, consider this as well. Ghana Association of University Administrators, is dated the 8th of April 2026. Maybe I'll let Mawuena read that for us, so you get a firm understanding of what it is.
So, request for GOA and UTAG to pay courtesy call, that's by the Ghana Education Tertiary Commission on the 8th of April, and the Ghana Association of University Administrators, GOA, and the University Teachers Association of Ghana UTAG chapters at the University of Energy and Natural Resources Union right to congratulate you on your appointment as the Director General of GTEC. UTAG and GOA have admired your leadership and dynamic changes since your appointment as Director General. The two unions from the University of Energy have not paid a courtesy call on you. Consequently, we write to request a meeting with you and your office between Monday, April 20 and Friday, April 25, or any day that may be convenient for you to strengthen our working relations. This is from another university association, all within, and so it will ask questions as UTAG is complaining, others are asking to want to meet Professor Jinapor, and so where lies the validity in terms of the concerns that you raise is what this letter is seeking to suggest.
Well, my brother, I think that you will be overstretching the argument if you say that a union requesting to pay a courtesy call necessarily means that the people are doing everything right. I think that let's not overstretch the argument. Everybody has the right to pay a courtesy call on anybody. We as UTAG, we paid a courtesy call on people. Don't forget that when this issue of fake degrees started, UTAG issued a statement commending GTEC for doing the needful. Okay? Just go and check. We are not hypocrites. Where you do the right thing, we will commend you. But where you also do the wrong thing, we are not afraid to call you out. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It doesn't read any meaning.
So Doc,
I think they have the right to do whatever they want to do.
So
right?
Doc, if Professor Jinapor and his team goes, how does that benefit UTAG?
How does it benefit UTAG?
Yes, sir.
Well, you see, what we are saying is that it is their temperament and style that is creating disharmony in the higher educational space. And so we are hoping that whoever comes in will be vetted for their, not just their qualification, but their temperament and other things, so that we can have proper framework within which to work. We are requesting that it is because they have not listened to anybody and they've decided to do things the way they want. That's why this chaos is happening in the higher education space.
So do you have a suitable candidate?
We do not have any vested interest. We want somebody who will listen to us, who will operate within the law. And that is why we're also asking for the airline to be enacted, because I think that without the airline, there is the possibility for people to abuse, office. Power is sweet. So when people get power, sometimes it gets into your head. So all that we are saying is that we have interacted with these people, we have dealt with them, we've tried our very best to collaborate with them in ensuring that higher education space has peace and harmony to work.
What do you say if we say Dr. Joe Jerry Harrison, UTAG Secretary Unionist, should be the new GTEC boss? What do you say to that?
I'm not going to take it. With all due respect.
You don't like
I'm not doing it because I want to be, GTEC boss. I have so much work, on my hand that it's not something that I can even consider. Thank you very much.
Right, Doc, I appreciate you for joining us this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
That's Dr. Jerry Joe Harrison. He is the secretary, the general secretary of UTAG, speaking to us this morning. Quite the conversation we've had this morning. It's time for us to get into sports. Bill is here as well.
Otuado is gone.
There's
and then we have a new one.
Carlos Queiroz.
Lumambuge, Numbaliche.
Carlos. Yeah. Does he inspire confidence? I'm going to be very direct. Does he inspire confidence going into this World Cup? Because
I think it's only your uncle. Slow down. Change your facial expression. Now answer.
To be honest, this is the biggest name appointment this current GFA has ever made. Ever. When it comes to
Ketokreku
management.
Okay.
This is the biggest name appointment they've ever made. Carlos Queiroz's experience trumps a lot of coaches in the world at the moment. I mean, he's passed through Manchester United as assistant to Ferguson. He's coached Real Madrid before. He's coached the Egypt national team in AFCON 2021 when they reached the final. He's won trophies at youth level.
Charlie, how much are we paying him? That's
trophies
what they
as an assistant.
Don't mind Phil. How much are we paying him?
How much are we paying him? What we understand is in excess of $100,000.
Okay.
Yes. $100,000. Excess of $100,000
every month.
Yes. But what do you expect? Johnny, what do you expect?
Bill, I asked a direct question.
Yes.
Whether or not this inspires confidence.
Has he won a trophy before?
I think it does.
What confidence does it bring to the table?
I believe it does. This is a kind of name that can easily command a dressing room.
It is what he has done elsewhere. That is what will guarantee the 100,000 that we're going to pay him.
No, as for the pedigree, he comes with a lot of pedigree, and so that $100,000.
This is the
$100,000. Yeah.
$100,000.
Yeah. Football is big business. It's big,
Johnny,
big
Johnny,
business.
imagine this.
Why didn't I play football?
Yeah.
Johnny, imagine this. You sack your coach 2 months to the World Cup. Every coach out there knows you are desperate for a new coach, so they will charge higher. It's only fair.
I'm not even looking at it from every coach knowing you're desperate, because it was quite the interest, right? We had to pick out of a lot.
Yeah.
My concern is if this is a name that brings confidence, this is a name that turns our fortunes around at the World Cup. Is a question that is the only question I'm asking, because when all is said and done,
I firmly believe it is.
we will ask the question: do we make it out of the group? It's a question.
Charlie, does this new coach, Carlos Queiroz, is that the name?
Yeah.
Does he know that he has 35 million Ghanaians who are deputy coaches to him? Does he know?
Oh, I'm sure he knows.
Has he been told?
I'm sure he knows.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't worry, he'll be fine. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Well, we'll get into all of that and we'll see how it all pans out. Bela Shen is here. He'll do sports for us, after which we're back with a bit more for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. Stay with us.
Hello, good morning and welcome to sports here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. Let's start off with some news from the Black Stars camp, because the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association, working with all key stakeholders, have appointed Carlos Queiroz as the head coach of the senior national team, the Black Stars. The former Real Madrid, Manchester United, Portugal and Iran coach will lead Ghana's campaign at the 2026 World Cup. Here's all you need to know about the veteran coach put together by the head of 3 Sports, Uriku Ampofo.
And so in the end, it's Carlos Queiroz who has been appointed as the new head coach of the Black Stars. A very experienced coach in his 70s. When he started coaching in 1989, I wasn't born. And so definitely his experience was one of the reasons why he was chosen. But what stood out in the end was his experience on the continent, not just the fact that he's managed clubs like being an assistant to Manchester United twice, has managed Portugal. That mattered, but not as much as the fact that he's already managed South Africa from 2000 to 2002, and then also Egypt in 2021, where he led them to the AFCON final and he lost to Senegal, and unfortunately a few months later lost to Senegal again on penalties for the World Cup qualifying playoffs as well. So he has experience with the continent. In fact, back in 2018, he actually applied for the Cameroon job, and so Africa is a continent that he loves, and in the end that was the difference for him. He comes in with World Cup experience as well. He is the longest serving manager for Iran, has been there for 8 years, split across 3 different spells, where in all 3 spells he's been with them at the World Cup as well. And so the World Cup is not new to him, but it's the first time that he would be going to the World Cup with an African country, and he has limited time, as there's really no time to settle, as he has to name his provisional squad in the next few days as well. So work begins for Carlos Queiroz. Remember, it's a short-term deal, and a lot would depend on how he performs in Ghana at the World Cup.
That was a report by Uriku Ampofo. Away from the Black Stars, let's do some more. A dark cloud has been cast over Ghana football following a tragic incident involving Brecum Chelsea. What began as a routine journey back home after a league defeat ended in horror after the team was attacked by armed robbers. An incident that has claimed the life of one of their players, Dominic Frimpong. This report has more.
On Sunday evening, players of Brecum Chelsea began what should have been a routine journey back home after a narrow 1-0 defeat to Samatex. But that trip will take a tragic turn, one that has left the entire Ghanaian football community in shock. Traveling in the VIP bus, the team encountered 6 armed men along the route. In the chaos that followed, players and officials scrambled for safety. However, 20-year-old winger Dominic Frimpong, who had joined the club on loan from Aduana FC, was caught in the crossfire and tragically lost his life.
Uncle Sonis Eba, or more attack here with gun, no more to gunshot, Eba. And see, young boy was not having no, overrate no more word, will grace you, Johnnie. And this time they now acquire run for your life, no, yeah, then, to be a Johnnie. And the unfortunately, now will backseat into a Yakonan Pim. And now Dominic is known as wide and wada. Into you know the echoes be a room, into you know, make market that no cry, no news to grant, be a sorry, no, say, or sorry, because I can't Dominic, you know, no crowd to step, or free by him, Landy from Nana, bullet in a can into 29 and Hoshi, or Daho.
this is not an isolated incident. In November 2023, players and officials of Legon Cities were ambushed by armed robbers on the Bibiani-Kumasi Highway after a Ghana Premier League fixture. Earlier in March 2022, Ashanti Gold also fell victim to a similar attack at Asinindra while returning to Obuasi from an Accra-based match. And in 2019, Division 1 League side Asokwa Deportivo were attacked near Jacobu en route to Prestia, though they escaped without physical harm. A troubling pattern is emerging, one that continues to cast a shadow over domestic football. These repeated incidents have raised serious concerns about the safety and travel arrangements of local clubs across the country.
Very painful. Very, very painful. Ordinarily, everybody would say, oh, well, why don't these clubs sleep over after these games? But a lot of planning goes into it. Sometimes it's difficult, and we don't have the resources to sleep over in such situations. Secondly, it's necessary that we get police in our buses when we are going for these games. We know the numbers are a little stretched, but we have to do something about it at some point to make sure that we have enough security on the bus when we are traveling, especially at night.
In the aftermath of the tragedy, messages of support have poured in from across the football fraternity, including the Ghana Football Association and several clubs. The Ghana Police Service has since launched an investigation with efforts underway to track down and apprehend the perpetrators. Meanwhile, the rest of the Brekum Chelsea squad have safely returned home thanks to transportation support from BBN Gold Stars. But for these players, the trauma of that night and the loss of a teammate is one they will carry for a very long time.
Indeed, a tragic incident involving Brekum Chelsea and leading to the death of one of their own, Dominic Frimpong. We still have some other stories coming your way, starting from former Arsenal footballer Thomas Partey, who has pleaded not guilty to 2 new allegations of rape. The 32-year-old appeared at Southwark Crown Court on Monday to deny twice raping a woman in London on a day in December 2020. The midfielder, who left Arsenal for Villarreal last summer, was charged in July last year with 5 counts of rape and 1 allegation of sexual assault dating back to 2021 and 2022. He previously pleaded not guilty to those charges, and the trial was set for November this year. The 2 new rape charges were announced in February this year, and on Monday, Judge Tony, the recorder of Westminster, agreed for all allegations to be tried together. He's expected to face England in the World Cup this summer as an integral part of Ghana national team. Before we head over to Europe, let's take a moment for boxing. Ghanaian boxer Theophilus Papo-Alute, who recently defeated Namibia's Jonas Erastus to win the WBA Africa Super Flyweight title, has now set his sights on becoming a world champion. Alute, who secured his 7th round technical knockout, told 3 Sports that his ultimate dream is to bring a world title to Ghana.
I'm aiming for a world title shot, and the opponent that my coach mentioned their name, they are the people who win the world title, so I have to be more focused on them. And now I'm in the world ranking, 1 to 15, I'm in, so I have to look up to those kind of boxers who are there, because they are also aiming for the world title shot. So if I have a challenge with them, I have to fast through them before I can meet the opponent. So I'm not just only watching those 2 people, but more focused on those 2 people because they are holding the world title.
That was Theophilus Alute. He spoke exclusively to 3 Sports. Now in Europe, Hansi Flick is expressing absolute confidence that Barcelona can overturn their 0-2 deficit against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League quarter-final second leg on Tuesday. Despite the uphill battle, Flick maintains that the tie is not over yet.
I have the feeling that this is totally different because the atmosphere in the stadium will be unbelievable. So the fans, they know what happens or what is necessary, and it's tough for us. But of course also I believe in my team. I believe in that we can make it happen. and it's possible. It's possible. Why not? So this is focus, and I know we play against a strong Atletico. They have fantastic players also in the offense. So we need a very strong and stable defense, but also we have to be brave in the offense. So we have to attack, we have to press, we have to maybe use every chance. It's I think this is when you see the last game, it's the difference between them and us. But at the end, it's like that. Maybe tomorrow is totally different, and then I will be happy.
That was Hansi Flick speaking. Also in England, Liverpool FC find themselves in a similar situation and are looking to overturn a 2-0 deficit as they host Paris Saint-Germain at home. Despite a run of 4 performances, head coach Arne Slot remains optimistic.
No, just first of all, remind them what the score was. That was 2-0. Where it felt completely different, as we all know, but the end result was 2-0. And second of all, we've shown so many times this season in big games that we are able to get a great performance. We've also shown a different face. I'm completely aware of that, but many of our games that we've played were very good as well, especially in big games. And not all of them, because not all of us are together for 1.5 years, but for the ones that have been with me for in the past 1.5 years, in the 49 home games we've played, 36 times we were able to score 2 goals or more. So yes, we did not play in all these 49 games against Paris Saint-Germain. I do understand that. But as we all know, the Premier League and the Champions League opponents we had over here were also very strong and are very strong. So yes, there's a belief that we can do special things tomorrow. But we also need to be very, 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 very special tomorrow to achieve that, because we're playing against the champions of Europe. So that makes the task more complicated, but not impossible.
That was Arne Slot speaking. Before we go, still some news from England. Noah Okafor fired Leeds into a long-awaited 2-1 win over 10-man Manchester United at Old Trafford as the Premier League stragglers boosted their bid to avoid relegation on Monday. Casemiro did get one back for United, but Leeds held on to their first win against United since the shock 2010 FA Cup success when they were in the 3rd tier. Here's Michael Carrick, United head coach, after that game.
We didn't start the game particularly well. We obviously conceded, which Lenny Yoro gets a forearm smash in the back of his head, and then they score the first goal. So didn't decide to overturn that decision. So that was a big moment in the game. We didn't quite have the rhythm. We didn't click. We had some moments, but it wasn't quite there for large parts of the first half. And then second half, I thought the boys, the way they went around it and stayed positive and fought for everything and tried to get something out of the game after another shocking decision to send Leach off. 2 games in a row we've had decisions like that go against us, but that one I have to say was one of the worst I've seen.
That was Michael Carey speaking. Bringing on into sports here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Leshen. We'll see you same time tomorrow with more updates from the world of sports. Until then, have a great morning.
Yourself from germs and bacteria with confidence. Cleanse hand soap effectively kills 99.9% of germs with every use. Perfect for all your hand washing moments throughout the day. Available in a variety of variants and delightful flavors. Choose Cleanse for yourself, your family, and friends. Make Cleanse your daily essential. The GC brand. It's all about you. This advert is FDA approved.
Clean soap, clean.
Have you heard? The Peduasi Top Bar Conference is happening. Starting Saturday, 18th April 2026 and continuing every other Saturday. You can enjoy authentic chop bar selections right here at Peduasi Valley Resort. Fufuana, Face the Wall, Abenkwan, Aponchin Kakra, Ebunebunu. We have them all. Also on rotation will be live DJ and cultural troupe performances. Eat, drink, and dance all you want with your family and friends as you enjoy this authentic Peduasi Chop Bar experience. For reservations and enquiries, call 0540-125-555 or 0540-125-554. Peduasi Valley Resort. Live life.
Electric energy. Electric.
Protect yourself from germs and bacteria with confidence. Cleanse hand soap effectively kills 99.9% of germs with every use. Perfect for all your hand washing moments throughout the day. Available in a variety of variants and delightful flavors. Choose Cleanse for yourself, your family, and friends. Make Cleanse your daily essential. The GC brand. It's all about you. This advert is FDA approved.
That's clean soap, clean.
Have you heard? The Peduasi Chop Bar Conference is happening. Starting Saturday, 18th April 2026 and continuing every other Saturday. You can enjoy authentic chop bar selections right here at Peduasi Valley Resort. Fufuana, Face the Wall, Abenkwan, Aponchin Kakra, Ebunebunu. We have them all. Also on rotation will be live DJ and cultural troupe performances. Eat, drink, and dance all you want with your family and friends as you enjoy this authentic Peduasi Chop Bar experience. For reservations and enquiries, call 0540-125-555 or 0540-125-554. Peduasi Valley Resort. Live life.
Electric energy. Electric.
3FM Sunrise. 3FM Morning Show. 3FM 92.7. 3FM, your urban lifestyle radio. 3FM Sunrise. 3FM Morning Show. 3FM 92.7.
3FM Sunrise.
This world we are inside, it goes round. When crazy is bluffing, look with your eye. Life is like a Monday, changes hands. Today you are up, tomorrow you are down. Cut your coat according to your size. If you cut oversize, oh, people will laugh at you, baby. Cut your coat, cut your coat, cut your coat. Cut your coat, cut your coat, cut your coat, cut your coat, cut your coat to your side. Some people got to post for where they are working, enjoying air conditioned money and beautiful cars. Some are engineers, but smart they need to touch. Some are lawyers, defending only the rich. Some are doctors, cause of money they treat the rich. Some are managers, conniving with the traders. That's why we are suffering in this world we are in. That's why we're suffering. Oh, my brother, can't you see? That's why we're suffering. 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 Suffering in this land. Above the ego,
Sunrise on 3FM.
If you live in this world, think twice. If you live in this world, aim high. Be good to yourself in this world. Cut your coat according to your size.
Money I hit awa, wawa, wa. Money I hit awa, wa. Awu Georgie, no no kame bamie, no no kame bamie.
Sunrise.
for tranquility. Call us on 0503 359 598 or 0303 989 737. You should also book First HR Heights because we don't just provide a room, we provide a reset. Our guests tell us they feel an immediate sense of peace the moment they walk in. A rare kind of assurance that lets their tensions just melt away. If you're looking for a sanctuary where the staff genuinely respects your peace and treats your family like royalty, we are your first and only choice. We're also located in town, just about 25 minutes drive to the Accra Business Center. Reach us as well, 025-606-06665 and 020-025-607-0666. Listen, it's time to make that move. It's time for a cold Malta Guinness. When the mind, the body, and Malta Guinness unite, nothing is beyond your reach. Vim up your daily pursuits with the revitalizing taste of Malta Guinness, packed with vitamins B. Malta Guinness is not like any other soft drink. It is a quality refreshment, boosted with vitamins B and brewed with sorghum and malt. Charge forward towards your goals with each sip of its nourishing natural goodness. Now selling at a cool 12 cedis. Remember to always look out for the proudly made in Ghana symbol on every bottle or can of Malta Guinness. Malta Guinness, we move. Choosing made in Ghana Malta Guinness over imported ones from Nigeria means you're protecting local businesses, creating and saving jobs, supporting Ghanaian industry, and boosting economic growth, as well as showing national pride. So contact production source if need be. Malta Guinness made in Ghana by Ghanaians for Ghanaians. Lower in sugar, brewed for the Ghanaian taste bud, has a taste suitable for Ghanaian taste buds, comes in sleek can, Jaja can, and has the proudly made in Ghana symbol on the back. Has the premium badge as well on the label. That's what you should be looking out for when you go out to get your Malta Guinness. So we're going to get into our big conversations right now, and a number of voices lined up for you. I've been joined in studio by Michael Obreje, who is the convener of the Coalition of Concerned Importers and Exporters, Traders and Freight Forwarders. That publican AI system at the port. The freight forwarders say they are laying down their tools for the next 4 days. We'll get into all of that in a jiffy. But first, let's hear from a number of individuals, starting from the port as to persons proper who are on the ground and having to experience what they say is a frustration. The GRA boss, Anthony Kwesi-Sapon as well, has been speaking in relation to this. I'll put all of that in context, and then when I return, Michael is in studio with me. We'll go onto the phone lines and engage members of Parliament for Sagnarigu and Dwabing as well, who are both members of the Trade and Industry Committee. But let's begin from the port, where we hear from the traders and persons my colleague Armstrong Gold Alogbe engaged yesterday. Then we hear from the GRA boss, and then we return to the studio.
The government recently introduced the Public Trade Solution and AI system as part of efforts to digitize port operations, improve efficiency, and enhance revenue collection. The group cites several instances where the new AI-driven charging system has significantly increased duties, some by as much as 300%, placing a heavy burden on businesses and slowing down cargo clearance processes. Paul Mensah is the General Secretary of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders.
Somebody bringing Toyota Voxy, the Voxy that they say it shouldn't be commercially used, which I pay 69,000 cedis. Now it is 7,980,000 for the same Voxy. I pay 69,000. So if it is not a flaw, if it is not an error, and then they explain that the AI is not valuing vehicles. So which customs officer having gone through a training will sit down and value a car, a vehicle, a 7-seater vehicle, 7 million? There are so many of them, but they'll tell you, oh, these are just few. These are just few. If we are to bring those ones to you, you marvel. And if really there are few, how come the port is congested?
The General Secretary of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Paul Mensah, noted that the situation could worsen if authorities fail to engage stakeholders and address concerns.
Declaration of industrial action that we are taking for the coordinated strike action from tomorrow to Friday. Right after that, the traders will also bring their action for the following week, so that all this will continue till years are given to our issues. No duty.
GRA, together with the Ministry of Finance last year, conducted a study over the last 5 years, and we did find out that the state actually lost over 11 billion Ghana cedis, which is significant. For that reason, we needed a system that will allow us reduce the leakages, and that is the reason why we are introducing Publican, a complementary tool that will assist us as customs to be able to do our work better in arriving at a fair duty assessment and ensuring that the importer pays the fair taxes and the state also collects the fair taxes from the importers. According to our laws, it is custom officer that makes the decision. But of course, for the custom officer to make that decision, the custom officer has to gather a lot of information before Publican. It took averagely about 2 hours for our officers to be able to scan through a load of information to arrive at a decision. What Publican is doing is to the same information, analyze it in 5 minutes and generate a report for the officer and allow the officer to go through it and make the right decision. Publican will help the officers to accurately determine the country of origin, because that's a key factor in the determination of the taxes. Second is the classification. Every product manufactured and traveling across the world has a unique code. And when you miss that unique code, you will not pay the right taxes. And finally, how much is an item paid for which the taxes ought to be collected? Publican does not make a decision. Publican facilitate and assist the officer to arrive at a decision. We started the Publican on 12 March. If we look at 2 weeks before the introduction of Publican, we were generating a revenue of about 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. 2 weeks after the introduction of Publican, we are generating 3.6 billion Ghana cedis. That means that within 2 weeks alone, Publican is assisting us to raise revenue by 50%, almost 50%, that's 1.2 billion. So it's actually aligned with the pilot that we did earlier, which told us that the introduction of Publican will assist us to raise revenue between 40 to 45%. Since the introduction of Publican, about 75% of declarations that are made are compliant. However, we are seeing the remaining 25 where Publican is telling us that as custom officers, we should look deeper. We then look at country of origin classification and valuation. If we have concerns, we raise it with the agents and importers and assist them to be able to come to an agreement. But more importantly for importers and agents, we already before Publican had what we call an appeal team in place. So where there's a disagreement with one officer, the importer or agent will escalate it to this appeal team. We want to assure that that appeal team is still in place. It is working as it has been before and after Publican. So we encourage importers to use that system. to assure importers that the introduction of the system will not go against their interests, we've added a second layer, which also stand by and meets at least twice a week. So if an importer or agent is still not satisfied with the initial appeal process, they can still make the appeal process to this team. And we are saying that this appeal is not manual. You put your appeal in the ICOMS, we pick it up in the ICOMS, we analyze it. If you have to meet the importer, we meet them, we put the result. Transparency is to publish on a monthly basis the volumes or number of declarations that have been made in a month, the values of those declarations, the initial assessment by importers, and the initial indicative assessment by publican. We've also introduced the 24-hour shift system at the customs valuation department. That way, as goods come in from end to end, we are running 24-hour system to support that. Secondly, also to encourage our agents and freight forwarders that the results of publican are available to them as much as available to custom officers. They must also continue to learn and know how publican works so that they can improve the efficiency of their work and be able to improve the collaborative work that we have with Customs Division of GRA. Revenue is the lifeblood for the development of the nation. Let us do our best to ensure that we play our part, we declare correctly to the state, and the state correctly also assesses and takes the revenue. Know your taxes, pay your taxes, and together, let's build the Ghana we want. Thank you.
The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise. The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
22 to the top of the hour. You're still live here on the 3FM Sunrise. In studio with me is Michael Obridge, is a convener. I want to get this designation right off. The Coalition of Concerned Importers and Exporters. And so that's one group on its own. And then the traders, another group, and freight forwarders. So three groups put together who are all coming together to raise a singular complaint against a new system that's been introduced at the port, which they say is killing businesses. Michael, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us in studio.
Good morning, Mawuena. Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners.
Absolutely.
At the length and breadth of the country.
One leg of the group you speak for, the concerned union, say they are embarking on a strike of some sort today. There's been confusion as to whether or not it is happening or not in the aftermath of that declaration as made yesterday. What can you tell us? Is that strike on as we speak?
Okay, thank you very much. So the strike is very much on as we speak. And I must clarify that it is not just one leg of the group. You see, it's a concerted effort. So freight forwarders are the ones who would act as your agents and clear your goods for you when you import them, among others. Traders and importers are the ones who bring the goods in. Traders are saying we do not have the money to pay for the goods. And so if your principal, who is the importer or the trader, is not giving the agents the money to clear the goods, it presupposes that the agent cannot do what his principal has not instructed him to do. And so it is not just one end of the group that is saying we are going on strike. It is a concerted effort from everybody that leads to the strike. Unfortunately, there's been some misrepresentation, particularly from the Ghana Shippers Authority, after a meeting was held yesterday. The meeting had the leaders, some of the leaders of the trade unions, UTAG, FABAG, ACHAG, among others. And at that meeting, the Shippers Authority boss, Professor Ramford Jampo, sought to appeal to the leaders of the trade unions that the Minister for Finance is not in town, but the Minister for Transport, I think I was told he was in the company of the Minister of Transport.
Right.
The Minister of Transport says, I want to hear from you so that when the minister comes in, because we're all cabinet ministers, when he comes in, we can lead you people and then we go and judge. So please call off your strike. the leaders of the trade unions and the groups that were there made it emphatic that the strike is only one part of the activities, the series of activities we intend to carry out. So for the strike, which is an instruction to our agents and freight forwarders not to pay duty, that is still in force. There may be, or there are other activities that we had planned to do within the course of the period. Those activities, we would have a standoff of those activities. But for the strike, it is still in force. And so the misrepresentation out there that the groups, as a consequence of their meeting with the Shippers Authority boss, withdrew the strike action.
The intention to go on strike.
The intention to go on strike is not true. It is a misrepresentation. And this morning, I would want to take the opportunity to clarify again that the strike remains in force. Yesterday, I was in your studio at TV3 with the GUTA president, and we made that statement emphatically clear that there is no ambiguity as to whether we're still in that industrial action or not.
On the score of that industrial action, what really does it entail? Yes, I've heard you mention that, look, this is a concerted effort, and so it's not just the freight forwarders, because when your principal doesn't give you money to work, then it essentially renders you unable to work. Is there an inference to say that this has been necessary to announce a strike to make it pile more pressure on government? Because if there's no strike, you will not have any money to clear the goods anyways.
Okay, so like I said, this is a concerted effort, and both the traders, the importers, the freight forwarders understand the gravity of the matters that we're talking about. I mean, some freight forwarders themselves are importers, and so you can feel the pain of the one who is supposed to now pay 280,000 Ghana cedis as customs value when previously he used to pay 60,000 Ghana cedis. That's about 300% in increase. And so it is from this strike stems out of consistent appeals we have made to the government since the introduction of the publican AI, to say that the introduction of the publican AI, the whole thing flouts three things that I see generally holds the business community. So for the business community, there must be a compliance of a legal framework. There must be operational certainties, and there must be transparency in systems. We believe that on all three scores, this publican AI falls short. Now, it falls short on legal compliance. When I say legal compliance, I'm referring to the WTO regulations, WCO regulations, and the Customs Act that we ourselves have enacted for us. And the Customs Act is just an importation of what is in the WTO regulations into Act 891, particularly Section 67 and Section 68. Now, when it comes to operational certainties, as a trader, or as an importer, when you go out of the country to import goods, one of the things that informs the way you do your business is predictability. The ability to predict that if I bring 50 containers, I would be paying $200,000. And so in my financing, I would make room for that.
Right.
Because nobody intends to bring goods from some other country, have them stuck at the port without being able to clear them. So you are able to predict beforehand and work your finances out towards that. And so you know, because duties are not calculated in vacuum. The law tells you that you calculate duties with your transactional values, and you know how much the duty line items are, and then you pay. But now you come in for goods that you were paying, let's say 60,000 or 50,000. You're now paying 500,000, 400,000. It takes away the ability to predict. Now, there used to be an appeals process, which appeals process allowed you to challenge the values you are given if you have some dispute, among other things. Now, after the introduction of the AI, the appeals process that used to be some 24-hour, you would have gotten the appeal resolved because it was online on the ICOMS platform, and then you go, you key in whatever it is. If they need correspondence, they ask you, finish, and then in 24 hours, most likely you would have been done with your appeals. Now, the ministry says we would sit on appeals twice a week. Twice a week. Now,
what was it like before this decision? It was every day?
It was every day. I mean, the ministry didn't need to sit on appeals. That is why you have customs officers who are doing the operation. And let me say that there's an impression that is created as if there's some collusion with custom officers. It is not true. When you come to the ports, no business is done with just the importer or the freight forwarder and the custom officer. You would have agencies and departments of the state around. So you have the national security, you have BNI. When you're opening your container, national security is there among others. And so if you are misdescribing, I'm not sure the claim and the suggestion is that members of the national security and the BNI also collude with us to misdescribe and misdeclare. Obviously, there are some rogues within every industry who may misdescribe and misclassify. That is why you have scanners. We have put in systems that detect these things. So on the operational front, you are unable to predict when your appeal would even be addressed. What that means is that more cargoes are going to stay at our ports. When more cargoes stay at the ports, demurrage happens. And when demurrage happens, the importer is made to pay more. Now there's a transparency of the system that we are also calling for. Now, I have written an RTI to the Commissioner General, and I've made just 3 simple requests. The RTI is requesting for 3 things. First, we say we want the technical assessment report that determined that we needed this particular AI at our port. 2, we want the procurement details of how they arrived at this company. And 3, we want to see the contract. The reason why we're saying so is because our port is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You cannot hand over our ports to persons whose credibility and technical know-how we cannot vouch for.
Is there a suggestion that this has not been handed out to a very competent agency to handle? This publican AI system is being run by a not too experienced agency, reason for which you're raising these concerns in this RTI?
It appears so because the level of problems we are seeing suggests that the persons either do not appreciate the port's operations or they do not even appreciate the entire framework of the artificial intelligence and what it should do.
How so?
So, like I'm saying, it's churning out the kind of arbitrary values it is giving. It is not taking account of the nuances of the trade. So, for instance, if you take used clothing, for instance, and used products, our colleagues who are from Abosokai and all of those spare parts dealers. No spare part dealer in Ghana here goes to a German factory and says, I want to buy plugs or I want to buy shock absorbers or whatever, and buys them fresh from those places. Usually it is from scrap yards. Those that are good, then they salvage them and they bring them here. And so the pricing of it cannot be that the AI would just go shopping, as I would like to call it, online. It serves online. Oh, the price of a Mercedes-Benz C300 engine costs this much online and this low. So it takes a floor and it takes a ceiling, and then determines that if your invoice, which is your transactional value, is below any of these figures, then you are under invoicing. I think that cannot be the case. So it is the reason, and you see the way...
There's a lack of nuance to appreciate that we deal in second-hand industry and it's pricing as though it's brand new.
Exactly. Now, so for instance, I can show you a bill of entry now. The bill of entry has... that bill of entry is for a Toyota Volkswagen. The duty is around 8 million Ghana cedis. A duty for a Toyota...
One Volkswagen?
Yeah, one Volkswagen, 2012 used Volkswagen. The duty is about 8 million Ghana cedis.
Are these not exceptions in terms of the system getting it wrong? Because prior to this conversation beginning, we've heard from the GRA boss who says that, look, this is to plug revenue holes. And in the 2 weeks since this was introduced, they've been able to raise in addition 1.2 billion cedis revenue, which hitherto they did not have. And that it is only 25% of cargo being cleared with this publican AI system that is raising these concerns.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think at some point we must give traders, importers, freight forwarders, it gives us some credit for being in the system for quite a long time, and some credit because a lot of us are learned people.
Right.
And so we are rational in thinking. We understand that we are development partners for the government. And so we are not going to thwart government's effort if government intends to raise revenue. We are not against revenue mobilization. In fact, if you look at the targets that the GRA, the Customs Division, had set for themselves since maybe 2020 or so, you would realize that in collaboration with the business community, they have always increased their targets. And if you look at the targets, you would see that it has been in an ascending order. Sometime in 2020, the targets they set for themselves was just about 10 billion cedis. 2020, during the COVID, they set 10 billion cedis for themselves as target to raise. By the end of 2020, we were able to raise 12 billion Ghana cedis. In 2021, they set a target of 15 billion Ghana cedis to raise. By the end of 2021, they had raised 16 billion. In 2020, they set a target of 20 billion. At the end of 2020, they had raised a target of 22 billion.
So and we're always climbing.
In 2024, there was a target of 41 billion. The revenue collected was 45 billion.
From the port.
From the port. And so it is not that we are against revenue generation. In fact, we think that it is the government's bona fide to determine policy, because that's why we elect governments, that you should determine policy to run the country. However, that policy that you are formulating must be in context so that you do not hurt the businesses for whom you are developing the policy. And so, yes, the GRA, the Commissioner General says that 2 weeks prior to the implementation of public and air, yes, they have generated revenue which hitherto they would not have generated 2 weeks into. Now, it comes back to the same thing that we're saying if you look at it essentially. We're saying that a container that one would have paid a duty of 60,000, the person is now asked to pay a duty of 280,000. Obviously, you are jumping in revenue. But the question is, the jump in revenue, is it legitimate? Are you doing it in such a manner that you do not hurt the businesses? And I can tell you for a fact that this revenue, supposed revenue that they have generated, is on paper. In actuals, people have not paid. People have not paid because it is almost unconscionable to ask somebody to pay 750 Ghana cedis for a microwave. Duty for a microwave that cost about 1,000 Ghana cedis on the market. You want the person to pay a duty of 750 Ghana cedis. No importer or trader would pay that much and go to the market and bring the price back to the same 1,200. The price would shoot astronomically. The microwave that was sold for 1,000 Ghana cedis now would now be selling for 2,000 Ghana cedis. The income of Ghanaians have not changed. The salaries of the people have not changed. What you are going to essentially do is that the cost of living is going to go up. When the cost of living goes up, there's frustration in the economy. Businesses may have to close. And I can tell you today that there are importers who have asked that their goods be re-exported because they cannot pay for the duties. There are some that have asked that their goods be redirected to neighboring countries. Do you know what that means for the economy of Ghana? We are not doing this to hurt the economy of Ghana. We're doing this as partners in development because our country largely thrives on trade. The majority of the people in this country are traders. Services are just a few. Government businesses are just a few, or government agencies are just a few. It is largely private sector persons who are supporting government. And this doesn't just end at those who are importing. If you look through the concerns, you would see that even for local manufacturers, there is a problem. Because, for instance, you bring in wheat chaff for chicken feed. You used to pay maybe somewhere around 80, 90,000 Ghana cedis as your duty for a container, perhaps. Now you're going to pay about 2-point-something, almost 3 million Ghana cedis for the same products coming from the same supplier. When it gets to the market, when you, a local poultry farmer, buys the wheat chaff, use it for your feed and you give to your birds, are you going to charge the same price for eggs? Obviously not, because your overhead cost has increased. That is what we're trying to bring the government's attention to.
Right. I hear you, and you're still live here on 3FM 92.7. We're doing some 4 minutes at the top of the hour, and Michael Obreje is in studio with me. He speaks for a number of the groupings who are today laying down all of your working tools in demand that this publican AI system be looked at again. Now, let's go to when it started, this publican AI system. When was it officially rolled out and you began to use it at the ports? The start of this year?
Yeah, this year on the 12th of March. But you would remember that sometime in November when the finance minister was given
the budget,
he made an indication. We thought that after that indication, there was going to be some stakeholder engagement.
There was no engagement.
Unfortunately, there was no stakeholder engagement. And when you talk about stakeholder engagement, they reference you to a meeting that was held on the 4th of January at Oak Plaza Airport.
What meeting was this? Who and who were in this meeting?
So the Deputy Finance Minister was in that meeting. Members of or staff of the Finance Ministry were in the meeting. The Commissioner General, I think, was in the meeting among some entourage of the ministry. Now, you see, that meeting was not a stakeholder meeting. Mawuena, I think if you are in a sector and the sector, those who are managing the sector call you to tell you that we are introducing a new station. When we raised a concern, alluded to the fact that they didn't even need to consult us. I felt very slighted by that. And he made an analogy that if you hire a carpenter to come and fix a window for you, he would not need to consult you whether he would bring a hammer or not. I think that oversimplifies the matter, and you cannot juxtapose that kind of analogy in our ports. We are not employing government to do something for us. We're partners. They must view us as partners. And if you view us as partners, you will not have such condescending language towards us. You would understand that before you implement anything at the port, because we are the ones who are going to help you to achieve the results that you want to achieve, you must get our buy-in. And this happens with successive governments. Usually they start a project without the buy-in of the people. Then we tell them all the things that are wrong. They fail to listen. 3 months down the line, then the thing collapses.
This has not even been a month yet, or it's now a month, because you say it was launched on the 12th of March.
I think yesterday, 2 days ago was a month.
Yes. So on the 12th of March makes it exactly a month, and already there are complaints and concerns being raised. Now, in the aftermath of when it was launched, and then the system began and you began to use it, and you mentioned a specific act in relation to Act
891.
891, Section
67 and Section 68.
67 and 68. I have that open here in relation to customs valuation as well. We'll get into that bit. But when you mention within that 1 month period, how soon enough was it for you and your members to flag that there was a concern, and then you began to raise it? And what was the process like in being able to draw attention? I'll return to the comment of the GRA boss for us to get into it, because he makes a number of comment as to progress and what they intend to do going forward, and we'll seek to get into all of that. But how long did it take you to realize?
So I think that from the get-go, we had always cautioned government on the premise that they wanted to start off. Even at the meeting at Oak Plaza, some of our people raised concerns and told them that there's going to be a very big problem when you roll out this. But on the 12th of March, when it was rolled out, I think it was almost immediate to identify that there was going to be problems, because there was a communication from the Commissioner General, and that communication simply stated that customs officers were to pick the higher of 2 alternatives as custom values. The reason why that brings a problem is because once you go to Section 68 of our Act, Section 68.3, one of the things that it frowns on in giving values to anybody, it says the customs value shall not be determined on the basis of any of the following. Then you take the B. It says,
so there's A, the selling price of goods produced in this country.
Exactly.
A system that provides for the appraisement at the higher of 2 alternative values.
Exactly. So once that communication went out, we knew we're heading for problems, because the Customs Act tells you specifically, in no uncertain terms, that look, you cannot give people customs value to pay based on the appraisement of the hire of two alternatives. So you cannot now issue a communication to customs officers and tell them that when you do what the AI gives you and what maybe per your own discretion you have determined, which one is higher? Look at which one is higher.
And choose the one which is higher.
The one which is higher. That was the starting point of the problem. And then the duties began to come. And then we saw that it was widespread. You see, it is widespread because if it was just a select few cases, you would not have had the anger and the reaction. And you see that it is all the unions. All the unions.
I'll come back to you, but on this and we'll proceed. But Michael Ochrebefi is a member of parliament for Joabin South, and he's also the ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee, also a former minister, as a deputy minister in relation to trade and industry as well. He's joining us via the phone. Honorable, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
Very well, thank you, my brother.
Yes. On this matter of the publican AI system at the ports and the concerns being raised by traders, I suspect that has come to the attention of the minority at least. What has been the level of information received from the government and relevant sector agencies with respect to this challenge and what we're seeing being a strike by freight forwarders, traders, and then importers and exporters today?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think as of now, what we did as we've done as minority on behalf of the minority, I filed an RTI last 2 weeks. So I'm expecting the Ghana Revenue Authority to get us the response by close of day tomorrow or the next day, so that we'll know what to do. But at least this is a very striking issue that has come to create a lot of tension and problems at the port. We believe so. We are so much convinced that if government doesn't suspend this policy immediately, it can create a lot of problems going forward. And that can also cause mess in the trading public and also at the port. And that's how come we also came out, strongly to ask the government to suspend the policy. Note that this is a policy that is very new, and we're expecting the government to have conducted a lot of stakeholder engagement. Just to engage the stakeholders for them to be convinced so that they can come out with their issues on the policy. The government could have even started with a pilot. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. In fact,
government could have even started just to help the system to see whether they can be comfortable with the policy or not. But government didn't do anything. After just 1 day stakeholder meeting, just 1 day, government came out boldly, Ministry of Finance, directing the Ghana Revenue Authority on the 5th, on the 10th of 5th of March to operational or implement the policy on the 12th of March. So the stakeholder engagement was not enough. It didn't solve most of the problems. They were not able to resolve all the problems these stakeholders issued or brought out. So it became very difficult. The key point we have to understand as a country is that this policy is part of the guidelines that the World Trade Organization has given us. I'm talking about what we use already. What the existing policy we are implementing was part of the guidelines the World Trade Organization gave us. Was part of the guidelines the World Trade Organization gave us. That every member country of WTO is implementing. Also, when you check the Customs Act 2015 Act 891, Section 67, 68 clearly also legitimize the actions or the guidelines of WTO. So it is not just something that we have been implementing just for implementing sake. It is backed by law. So government cannot just come out with a new policy that is alien to the system to create a mess. For all the import community, and also to create a mess at the port for not only the stakeholders involved, but even Ghana Revenue Authority staff. because it's creating a lot of backlog traffic at the place, and it is also very complex. Don't understand?
Honorable,
especially with regards to the median issue.
I hear you on the fact that you say there's an RTI request you've put in seeking to get all of the details, but on the face value, there's a question which has been asked as to the competence of the institution running this AI system. Has that also become a subject of interest for you in the minority?
Very, very, very. That is one of the key points that we have. We, as a matter of fact, as I'm talking to you, I'm preparing to even go and meet some people this evening on that issue. Note that the True Dare Investments Limited, that the government has awarded this contract to, is an inexperienced artificial intelligence operator in the world. True Dare was established, you said that it was established on the 28th of December 2024. 28th of December 2024. And they were established to operate as asset management and general trading company. They don't have any expertise in customs tech. They don't have any expertise in artificial intelligence. They don't have any expertise in IT in general. So they are even going to ride on the back of other companies. So that is even more dangerous. Note, and the key important thing is that since the incorporation of this business, they have not undertaken any business or done any work in this world. The first business they are doing is the one that they are doing for the country Ghana. And what the government also told us, that the company doesn't have, we are doing that at no cost to the state. That is also not true. These are things that we believe that is not true. So, looking at their inexperience and the fact that they don't understand the tech system, it means that they're going to also hire a third-party contractor to work on their behalf. Note that all these things will be riding on ICOMs. So they're going to parasite on ICOMs, which is there already that we are running. So why should government take this decision? Hire an inexperienced contractor who doesn't have so much expertise, who doesn't have experience in an area to operate this sensitive policy that can take problem for the trading community.
What the GRA boss says is that there has been an increase in revenue with respect to the use of this Publican AI system. It's supposed to help deal with an 11 billion cedis in underdeclared values, right, for the state. You don't think that is consideration for all of what is happening, and rather a sitting down around the table to have a conversation and urging upon these trader groups to come around for a conversation instead of a possible activity which could disrupt business at the ports?
That is exactly what the point I'm making, or the point I made to government. I mean, I've been on a lot of media platforms talking about the point you're making, that what is against government making more money domestically to help us develop the country. I mean, the minority is so convinced that government should do more to be able to generate a lot of money from the public, legitimate money, which we're okay. We wholeheartedly support a policy like that, or like any move like that. But what we are afraid of is that government must do this not as imposition, but through a stakeholder engagement. People involved must be gathered at one table. I mean, we need to sit down and say that, okay, these are our issues. Government should take its time. We are not in a rush. Government should take its time to convince them that they are praised, to be able to, I mean, give them comfort that the policy that is coming is not going to kill them, but the policy is rather going to create more opportunities for government to generate more revenue for the state. And it's also going to block all leakages. So they have to be convinced. It is not just about imposing a policy that for people to rise up in opposition like that. That's not the way to go. But we have not seen something like that before. When ICOMs came, there were issues. But we didn't see a tumultuous issue like where every part of the trading public has risen up like that, or they didn't do that. We didn't see that when ICAMS came. There were issues, but we didn't see like that whole action for the trading community. That is what we're talking about. So we expect government to sit down with the stakeholders, try to, address their issues. Try to convince them that this policy will help. Government must be prepared to sometimes also swallow its pride a little, so that, through jaw arrangement, or where there will be a win-win situation for both sides, and then everybody will be convinced that this policy will come and bless the state. But if they don't do that, but they want to use a policy to create problems for the trading public, they also not allow them to operate, and that is what has already happened.
That is what is happening. And so your solution is the convening of a meeting by the respective
there should
agencies.
Be a thorough stakeholder engagement. The government should proceed very and convince them to give them comfort. Let them know. Because we all want government to generate revenue. We want government to generate more revenue domestically. That's what we want. But then the people who are going to be affected must be convinced that it's not going to kill their business, but it's rather going to help, create more opportunity for government to raise more revenue, not at the expense of the importers, but legitimate one. That one, we don't have a problem with it. But if they go the way they are going, then the opposition party will rise up and tell them that what they are doing is not good. And as I said, there are a lot of things that we are doing behind the scenes. So we're just waiting for the response of our RTI, and we will now do what we can do to help the state.
Absolutely. Honorable, I appreciate you joining us and for your perspective on this matter as well. I'm sure we'll speak again in relation to this. That's Michael Ochribefi speaking to us this morning. Is a ranking member on the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee, speaking to us this morning. In studio, still with me, as well as Michael Obrieje, two Michaels joining us. Mike, so back to that point, and the minority seems to be backing your position for a meeting and a review of some sort to the current operations. Does that give you a bit of confidence in terms of this being drummed home and for the government to give you the listening ear that you're asking for?
I think it's a reasonable expectation for government to give us a listening ear. And so anybody who makes that suggestion is simply stating the obvious, which is very reasonable. And so it gives us confidence that the voice of reasoning will prevail and government would come to terms with the fact that you cannot do this without us. And so there will be the need for us to meet. In fact, we have indications that on Thursday, the Minister of Finance will be in town. That as of now, he's not within our jurisdiction on assignment for the country out of Ghana. And so he will be back on Thursday. We're hoping to meet him on Thursday, as has already been indicated. And hopefully when we meet on Thursday, they would listen to our demands and we can always fashion a way forward. And so we are confident that he's not speaking just politics. As he's a former deputy trade minister, I believe, and so he understands, he has an appreciable or good understanding of the industry, and so he's speaking the voice of what industry people are saying.
I want to return to the GRA boss and the explanations he was offering. You listened to him in full. We've dealt with the part about how this is increasing imports, because you say it doesn't necessarily do that, and this is not clogging the holes in terms of revenue leakages other ports. Why do you say this when the persons who are managing the affairs believe that this is helping to clog revenue, and it's why they are insisting on having it done? It's a painful realization now, but it's one that will return to benefit all of us.
Okay, so you see, like I mentioned in my earlier submission, there is not just an issue of revenue. So if it were just revenue, then we would say that give Ghanaians a tax of 90% of their income to pay, so that at least you generate more revenue. So it's not really a question of whether you are generating revenue. It is how you are generating the revenue. So for instance, when it comes to, they've made a claim of misclassification or misdescription, for instance. And we've said that for something like misclassification, currently at our ports, we have scanners that scan every single container that comes into this country, partly to ensure that what you say is in your cargo is what is in there, because really the AI is just going to deal with paper. The AI is really just going to deal with paper. So if I have stated that in my invoice, I say that this is, let's say, household bulbs, but it is street lights, you know, they are different. I have misdescribed, and the prices would change because of the misdescription. The AI can only rely on what is on paper. Now we've gone a step further as a country, and we've installed scanners in our ports. So if you say you have street lights, and it is not street lights that you have, but it is floodlights, what happens is that when the scanner goes through, we're able to tell what you have in there. So there are a lot of ways, or there are a lot of tools that we have deployed in our ports, which is supposed to help us. We're not saying that do not deploy further tools to help. We're just simply saying that those further tools, in the manner and the form that we have seen this deployment, does not answer the question, because it does not cure misdescription. This publican AI does not cure misdescription.
What does it cure then?
So, in the form that it has been deployed, I don't see that it cures anything. What I see is that it rather makes the process more burdensome. It increases the cost of doing business, and that is what we've been trying to fight against. You see, sometime in 2024, we had the privilege of meeting the then candidate, who is now President Mahama, and he looked at, it was a Lexus, the duty items for a Lexus, and he exclaimed, because our ports were becoming uncompetitive because of the kind of duties we had. And so he promised to rationalize the duties. So by rationalizing, he also meant flat rates for some of these things. And if you bring in this AI that is beginning to churn arbitrary values, I think, and we believe largely, that AI cannot be the source of valuation. And it is the law. You cannot use the AI for valuation. Then AI can give some assistance to the officer, because obviously if you're working with, let's say, 200 documents, the AI can give you the speed to work on all 200 documents, scan through and make some analysis and give you some idea as to what to do within maybe a split second. What would take a human being 3, 4, 5 hours to do, an AI can. And so we are not really against the concept of an artificial intelligence. We say that technology is a means by which we leapfrog development as a developing country. So we accept and we invite technology into our space. What we're saying is that that technology must be first consistent with law. The way you deploy it must be consistent with law. 2, it must take account of the operational nuances that exist. And 3, we must see the transparency of the system. I've listened to the GRA boss, and like I said, what he says largely is that they've been able to rake in more money. We are simply saying more money does not mean you have sealed the loopholes. More money could simply be that you have overburdened those who were paying, the compliant ones, with more tax to pay because of the overvaluation that we are seeing. So that is our simple response to that. That yes, you are claiming that you are seeing more revenue. If you are seeing more revenue, we are just simply telling you that more revenue is not equal to blocking loopholes. It may be blocking loopholes, but in this case, it is just a simple issue of overvaluation.
Let's talk going forward, because this industrial action is on. The concerns have been outlined in great detail. The GRA appears to have taken a position where they say, look, this is going in our best interest, but we understand there's a meeting of some sort scheduled for Thursday because the finance minister is returning to the jurisdiction. What is the expectation of that meeting to start off with? Or perhaps let me start off first with the industrial action, which is scheduled to proceed today. What is supposed to happen today? When we go to the ports, there will be no activity whatsoever?
The industrial action remains unabated. When you go to the ports, we've instructed agents not to pay. Yesterday, I was at GIF, their office in Tema, and GIF instructed their agents not to either go to the port or even sit in their offices to pay duties. So I can assure you that today, there's nobody paying duties. There's nobody paying duties at the ports. We're not paying any duties at the port. And so as for the industrial action, it will remain unabated. The only
how does this affect the generality of the market? Because goods will have to come in, go through. Yes, I hear you on the charges and how much it will cost to clear, but have you thought through the entire ecosystem and what this could potentially mean?
Yes, what it could potentially mean, and beyond not just clearing, the instruction of traders is that the members of the trading community should not import goods now. So nobody is even doing any imports at the moment. The impact of it is that, one, the government is going to lose revenue entirely. Our ports, I dare say, maybe generates in excess of $4-5 million for the government every day. And so for the next 4 days, if you're losing $5 million every day, that's about some $25 million you're going to lose. And so it's going to hurt the government, but that is not our intention. Our intention is not to hurt the government. Our intention is to help the government, but we cannot help you at our expense. What would happen also is that there is likely to be a shortage of goods on the market, because if people are not moving the goods from the port onto our markets, then there will be a spike in prices, because if you have a shortage of goods, it will mean that it is those who can pay for that good. Just simple economics will set in, demand and supply. So the supply of goods become low, the demand is high, prices would go up, it would increase inflation and all of those things. We're just simply telling the government that, look, we don't want all of these. We are Ghanaians too. You see, we are Ghanaians first before traders. So at the end of the day, we also go to the market. If I bring chicken drumsticks to town, I'm not sure chicken drumsticks is the only thing I would rely on for my existence. I would go to the market to buy something else that another person has also imported. And so if we are all not clearing, as a trader, I get to suffer. As a freight forwarder, you suffer. As an importer, you suffer. But it is a necessary consequence of the government's refusal to listen to us.
Now, this AI system, and in conjunction with the industrial action, is this across all the entry points, official entry points that it's being used? Because we know goods come from different entry points. If it's tomatoes from Burkina Faso, the border up north, are all of these different groupings a part of what is supposed to be this industrial action?
Yes. So yesterday at the press conference that we held, it was stated that this strike or industrial action is for all entry points. It is not just Tema. So Tema, Takrade, Lubo, Paga, Aplao, every entry point of the country, we are saying we are laying down our tools. We're not going to import, we're not going to pay duties, we're not going to clear the goods. If the government believes so much that it would not allow us, it would not hear the concerns that we're raising, and it would proceed further to do what it wants to do, then as business people, we're not going to raise revenue for the government at our expense. You raise revenue and in 6 months your business collapses. Nobody is going to do that.
Are you certain you're going to get compliance from all of the members?
We're going to get majority. Obviously, in every system, you may not get everybody to comply, but we know for a fact that the majority of the members will comply. And I dare say that we would have more than a 99% compliance, because yesterday, after the declaration, even in Tema, you could see that the applause was unanimous from the members who were in attendance.
That's Tema. for a tomato trader who
was
is
held
bringing
all across the country.
For a tomato trader who's bringing tomatoes from Burkina Faso since they lifted the ban on exports, someone is bringing onions from Niger, that's also coming to an official entry point. Are they going to heed this directive that they don't go through the system, they should leave the goods on the side, perishables, for instance, like that?
So yesterday's meeting was held across all the offices of GIF. And so for the freight forwarders who would need to do the clearing at every entry point, they are not going to work. Now, for GUTA, for instance, is made up of various unions. GUTA is not just one organization. There's a lot of trading organizations that come together to form GUTA. What we understand from GUTA is that there has been clear instruction to their members as to what exactly to do. For those who have maybe taken perishable goods, I'm sure that the GUTA leadership has some arrangements with, because if you're going on an industrial action, you also will not go on industrial action at the expense of your goods if they are going to perish and all of that. And so I know that GUTA has its own arrangements with its people who are dealing in perishables so that they can also safeguard their economic rights. But largely, the industrial action is in full force. We expect 100% compliance. We know that we would get 100% compliance, if not a 99% compliance, but we are very certain that the members, having felt the impact of the introduction of this publican AI and having themselves made the complaints to the leadership, are very much in sync with the decision that the leadership is taking on their behalf. Because when they have problems, it is the leadership that they will run to. And so if they've come to the leadership with the kind of problems they have showed and demonstrated to us, it is only right that, and it's expected, that they will comply with the decision that leadership has taken in their interest.
Absolutely. And all of this, what will it take for all of this to be put on ice and for it not to proceed?
Our demands have been consistent from the very first day, that just withdraw the publican AI system, withdraw it. We're not saying that we'll thwart government's efforts at implementing policy, but withdraw this particular publican AI.
Until when?
When you withdraw it, you allow room for stakeholder engagements, proper stakeholder engagements. If after the stakeholder engagements, we're able to fashion out a way forward that allows you to do what you want to do in a manner that creates a win situation for government, a win situation for traders and importers and freight forwarders, then we can proceed. It's not that we're saying suspend it and we will never allow government to introduce AI into our ports. We're saying that the form and shape in which you, and manner in which you have introduced this one does not sit well with the law, does not sit well with operational certainties, and there is lack of transparency. I don't think that what the country is hoping for is another SML 2.0 on its hand. I don't think that's what we're waiting for. You see, and it's a problem because Trade Advocacy Ghana sent in an RTI. RTI wanting to see the terms of the contracts among others, so that we can also be certain the company that is doing this. Unfortunately, the Ghana Revenue Authority refused to comply with the RTI. Today, Trade Advocacy Ghana is in court with the GRA over that RTI. We have also submitted an RTI, like I mentioned, we requested for 3 specific things. The technical assessments report that arrived at the need for this publican AI, the procurement processes that led to the selection of True Dare Investment Company Limited as the company, and then the contractual agreements that Ghana went in with them, because we've heard, or we understand, that there is some 13 to 20% that the company generates from every duty that the trader is made to pay. And so we want to see those details. We were told that it comes at no cost to us, but there's contrary information. And so it doesn't hurt for public officials to disclose or give full disclosure of these things. And so, as request is simple, withdraw it. let's meet, let's dialogue. When we dialogue and we understand what you are bringing, we make room for the nuances. We are confident in the capacity of the people who are introducing or going to run such a multi-billion-dollar industry of Ghana. Then we are at ease. We go back to our work, you generate your revenue, you use it to develop the country as you have been elected to do.
Right, Michael, I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to engage again. Thursday is not so far away. The minister will return and then we'll get that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Ataisa, who is a member of Parliament for Sagnarigu, who is also a member of the Finance Committee as well as the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee. We had agreed to speak to him in terms of a government perspective as to whether or not this has come to the attention and what on their part they'll be seeking to do as well. Unfortunate calls to him have gone unanswered, but I'm most certain we will have a conversation in relation to the subject matter again, and we'll be at the port and the respective entry points to assess as well how this industrial action proceeds. I appreciate you joining us in studio this morning.
Thank you very much, Mawuena.
we cannot import it from Volta region, we will be in trouble. I'm telling you. Even the feed, the urea, the things that we have to give to the feed. Can you imagine? Russia and Ukraine fight small. No, we get problems. Abinami Takanda is health minister. He's in charge of health ministry. He's in a conversation with Roland Walker. Take a listen.
How are we moving forward to be able to, one, when it comes to getting the responsiveness by way of the standard operating procedures and subsequently the expansion to cater for?
Okay, Roland, my position and that of Mr. President is that irrespective of a condition in any health facility, no health facility should turn away an emergency situation, an emergency case. Excuse my language, even if there's the need, and I use that word carefully, to save the person's life on the floor, it is better than turning the person away to go and die. Roland, as you rightly indicated, no bear syndrome has been with us for some time now. And so as a leader, when you come in, you don't need to be part of those who are lamenting and complaining. You must find a solution to the problem. And before I go to the solutions, let me make the point that I set up a 3-member committee, which was chaired by Professor Bedu Akosa. I'm told the report is ready, but because of the free primary health care, we'll take them and we'll make it available to the public. And I will not hesitate to implement all the recommendations that will be in the report. We will implement them. So on my brother Charles's issue, a committee has been established. They are almost ready with their report, and I can assure the public that we'll make that report fully available to the public, and I will also not hesitate to implement to the latter the recommendations that will be in that report. But that notwithstanding, let me touch on few measures we have started to undertake. Number one, no bed syndrome. What we have realized is that sometimes patients are kept at the emergency ward for a very long time. You understand? And so what we have decided to do is that we're going to use the IT approach to have visibility on all beds. So I can sit in my office and know that if you're in Kwanta Hospital, we have 3 or 4 beds at emergency. So we are doing the counting and barcoding of all these beds, and we have what you call a command center. So we are establishing a command center at Rage Hospital at the moment. And so every health facility, we are piloting the regional hospitals and then the teaching hospitals. We have commanders who will feed into the system, and then the ambulance people are also on board. So when you feed in the system, it will be able to tell you where you should move a patient and where you should not go. But Roland, there's one point I also need to make forcefully. Usually, when there is an emergency, people are quick to move these emergency cases to the big hospitals, Kolebu, UGMC, Rage. It is always advisable to rush that patient to the nearest facility, even if it's a cheap compound, to stabilize the patient, and for that facility to refer you to other tier of the healthcare delivery system. And so we are doing that. Number two, we'll go back to Parliament with a bill on emergency issues. Number three, we are going to establish a whole center for emergency issues. And to add on to the best we have and all that. The already existing ones too at Kolebu, at Confanoche, at UGMC, we are looking at expansion. So these are some of the reforms we are bringing. I am not saying that we are going to deal with it comprehensively and will not have that problem. As for spillovers, even in developed countries, at one point or the other, you have spillovers. But as to how to manage the spillovers is also what the problem we have to contend with.
Okay. Even before the committee's report is brought to your attention, subsequently, if you want to, you make public. What have you noticed so far? That maybe at a certain point in time, we have so much beds available, but they are evenly or unevenly distributed. And then it's also because we have a number of individual practitioners or hospitals that tend to flout standard operating procedure. That's why we had incidents like that.
Roland, I've had instances where, and I'll be very blunt with you,
Please be.
We are public.
Once
officers.
it's not defamatory, we're fine.
I'll have instances where people will go to the health facility and they'll say there's no bed. And they will call me and I'll call the health facility and there will be bed. And I keep telling them all the time, the day I'll be happy as a health minister is when people will stop calling me that they need bed at the facility.
Whilst there's bed.
Whilst there's bed. This is an open secret.
So what's causing it?
Do you understand? And so what's causing it is that we must have visibility. It must be transparent. So that if there's bed, you cannot tell me there's no bed. So that does not mean that there are no rare situations where there are no beds. I've not said that, please. There are rare situations where there are indeed no beds. And so we need to, and as you have rightly indicated, there could be beds somewhere, there could be beds at Ridge, and you go to Kolebu. You understand? But when we have a centralized system to know where there are beds, that will also help us a lot. Whilst we're looking at expansions, I've made mention of expansion. Whilst we look at other avenues we will explore.
All right, we're still with the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Kando, who also doubles as the Member of Parliament for Draboso. And we are also live on 3FM 92.7, so you can also catch us live there. Also across our social media handles, TV3 Ghana, 3FM 92.7 as well. Let's have some great conversations thereof. And the questions keep trickling in. I always say that so far my observations, education, health, communication. If you're a minister and person you come and sit here, you'll get questions.
You see your smoothness.
I'm told, please, the previous government that the NP apparently what they are going to complete. Okay. Now, a critical question is about when the UGMC was not fully operational, you, as respectfully, a ranking, you were complaining fully that they were not operational, etc. So why is it that those that are not, that are near operational, talking about the Agenda 111 hospitals, you will not get them to be operational?
What kind of question is this? I think I have answered this question, that it is not as though the facilities have been completed and we are not making them operational. There are two different issues that have come. The facility has been completed. There are equipment, and we don't want to operationalize. That one is just sending health professionals there to go and start the operation. That is not the case. Okay. Even the civil works for Agenda 111, less than 10%, in fact, less than 5% of civil works are above 80%. Less than 5%. Civil works. If you combine the civil works plus the equipment, a facility that is about civil works 80%, if you add the equipment, you are bringing it down to about 50% completion. This is the realities. So it's not as if they are ready. And then there's money. You see, there's a difference between the projects and the programs His Excellency John Dramani Mahama left in 2016 and this one. Some of them, we had a program, a project, a source of funding is secured. So when you inherit, you just continue with the source of funding.
So you're saying Agenda 111 is sitting on GOG?
GOG.
You have to cough the money.
You have to cough the money. You have to plan. You have to think outside the box. The money is not sitting there. GOG.
I see.
So that is the difference. If I have that, I will be the most, the most happiest minister that I have money sitting in the ministry and I'm supposed to complete project. I'll be so excited to do that. But you need to think beyond that. You have to convince the finance minister. You have to go to cabinet to make the case. The cabinet must necessarily approve it and give you the money to be able to complete. We don't have a reliable and a secured funding for Agenda 111. It's not anywhere.
Sorry, I've brought this. This is my 7th question on it. So because the pressure is there, and they keep accusing me, Roland, you're not asking the question because.
Please, the assurance, Roland, again is that we have assessed the situation. We are going to stagger the completion. Government is going to take a chunk of it and run with it. In other words, complete and operationalize. There's a difference between completion and operationalization. So we will do that. Those that are above 80%, especially the 90% region, have instructed the contractors to go back to site, and they are going back to site to finish them and operationalize them. So we'll pick about 30 to 40 of these facilities and government will complete. And that will be staggered for the next year and the subsequent ones. And then the next year of group of facilities, we'll look at the corporate Ghana, GRMNA, GMA, other people can also come and partner government to complete. Private sector can come, corporate Ghana can come. So on Agenda 1, I know that everywhere I have gone with Mr. President, people have raised concerns about Agenda 111. So we have our eyes
on the
Agenda
chronic
111.
ailments. We have kidney disease because of underlying complications, etc. The dialysis machines, they are just not available. What's the current statistics of hospitals that have or across the country and don't have? They've come to your attention. You intend inputting or stocking them? How much?
So we are at a very advanced stage of rolling out a lot of dialysis machines in our regional and teaching hospitals. So what we are doing at the moment is that we are doing what we call hospital equipment placement. So we are partnering the private sector. So you, Roland, you say you have equipment, dialysis machines. We've divided the whole country into lots. And so we are starting with about 30 facilities. And we are going through the procurement processes. So Roland, you come, you bid, you win. You say, okay, you have your dialysis machines. We'll say, okay, go and put it at Ridge Hospital. And then you will be paid, if it's National Health Insurance or Mahama Cares, they will pay you according to the usage of the machine. So the procurement processes are ongoing. The whole country has been divided into lots, and we are at the completion, almost at the end of the procurement processes.
Are we going to make sure they are affordable? Because I'm asking this question because you go to in front of Kolebu, you find a tech, something tech. They are doing some lab, something, some MRI scan, something. Whilst the hospital, which is the public facility, doesn't have, by private person have. This time it's going to sit in the hospital. We're doing a PPP arrangement. So
the tariffs of those machines or services will be subjected to 2 or 3 main regulations, if you like, laws. Because it will be part of the agreement, it will be part of the MOU we sign. We will not allow the private sector to determine or to dictate the price. So what we are going to do is that if it is Mahama Cares, it will be subjected to the tariffs of Mahama Cares or National Health Insurance tariff or the Fees and Charges Act of Parliament.
Okay. All right. Let me return to the question because we want to wind up. So why are you still training and churning out health professionals in thousands when you know the state cannot absorb them? Isn't it time to reassess the needs and design new programs for health and allied health training schools to allow for a gradual absorption of the backlog before you begin new?
You cannot stop procreation. You cannot stop training of health professionals because you have a backlog. That cannot be done. But what we can do, and what we are doing, is that we are shifting the attention from the usual general nursing to what we call the post-basic, the specialties. What we've realized is that the countries who request our health professionals always come with some kind of qualifications, and usually the specialties. And so what we are doing at the moment is that there are some specialties that are not being run in this country, and we've started running some of them. So we are concentrating on the specialties so that when those demands come, we'll be able to meet the demand on the globe. Okay. And then we'll also be able to manage the numbers, but we cannot stop entirely.
This one says that the primary health care policy, the free primary, is a game changer, so kudos to you. But then you haven't, your ministry or your Ghana Health Service hasn't released a promotion letters for nurses and midwife educators who attended promotion interview as far back as September last year.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you will not know about
the
it.
Director General
Ministers, if people know easy.
So I'll take notes. And
this one is coming from Prince Nania York. He's watching us. He's a regular watcher from the UK. He says that he loves your exposition on the structures of recruitment, but he's worried about connection, the human interference. You know, Ghana connection.
So that's why, okay, I get. So you see, it is a very reason why we do not want to allocate a quota that is more than what is needed at a particular place. And maybe you may follow up from the ministry since we took office. We are doing our best to cut out those interferences and make sure that we do a transparent job.
Okay.
And Roland,
Yes,
we
sir.
cannot end these conversations without touching on the postings of the medical officers. So let me touch briefly on that. And I still have my position. Roland, I took office as a Minister for Health where there are some districts, not communities, not towns, some districts without a single medical doctor in this country.
At all?
At all.
In Ghana?
In Ghana. You see, you are surprised. And so I said, no way. So my first deployment, I said, I'm going to target and concentrate on the underserved regions. We have about 8 regions there, OT, Western North, Savannah, classified as underserved regions. So we targeted those regions and did the deployment. In 2024, when they did the deployment, only 12 medical doctors accepted postings to those 8 underserved regions. 12, not one regional. 12.
21?
2024. Only 12 accepted, postings to 8 regions. Are you getting the drift?
So we have vacancies.
But vacancies are there.
Postings were done.
They didn't accept the
Yet
postings.
only 12 took up the vacancies.
For 8 regions. Within which, even every region, you can have more than 8 districts. Are you getting the point?
What was the vacancies available, if you could?
What was the almost all the districts in those regions had vacancies.
Numbers, because 12 took them, so they should have.
Yes. So if you put them together, they could be, because even on average, if you have 5 districts in 8 regions, you're talking about more than 40 district hospitals. I getting the argument?
Or vacancies.
Or vacancies. So even if it's 1 each. So in 2025, we said, no, we'll target those regions. And so we deployed back.
And that was the Health Minister, Kwabena Mintakanda, there with Roland Walker, senior colleague here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7, telling us about what is and what is not regarding the health industry in Ghana. That's right. We'll get into a conversation later with the Minister for Health. But right now, we've got to check out of the studio. Make way for 3 Lounge with AJ Akwaku Sapong. That's right. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And we want to wish a few good people happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And it's your birthday today, Gifty Asiwome Apreku of the maternity ward St. Joseph Hospital in Koforidua. And this is happy birthday messages coming right at you from your husband and your lovely children. They wish you long life and prosperity, joy aplenty, and peace, and all the goodies that come along with celebrating your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Also, happy birthday to Anthony Alefe Amu Jr. of St. Francis of Assisi School in Takoradi. You're 12 years today, and it's a very great time for your parents to celebrate you. They wish you a happy birthday. Also, happy birthday to Akunta, my boss, head of the HR department at the Republic Bank. They wish you a happy birthday. This is from Ni Atashirasi. Also to you, and a special birthday, Oko Akwele of K. Billy Clay Academy at East Legon. We wish you a happy birthday. This is from your dad, all the way in the mountains in Ikuapem. Also, we wish you a happy birthday, 76 years on this earthly plane, to amazing father-in-love, not father-in-law, father-in-love, Mr. Thomas Yao Owusu Adomako Elias Punchman at Techiman Keten, and we wish you a happy birthday from Dora Budu Owusu Adoma. And Dora is a proud graduate of the GIJ, now Unimac IJ. Happy birthday to Prophet Danso Finn We wish you a long life. This is from Felicia Kobu. Also, happy birthday to you. No name. Okay, so Jacqueline Padite, PR and Communications Officer at Action Aid Ghana. Today is your birthday. This is from Thomas Adutei Papo of the TV3 Newsroom. Also, happy birthday to Aline Crosby. Connect, you are 6 today. This is from your daddy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Pokoa. God bless you and your new age. This is Jerome Autry. And he wishes you a happy birthday. Happy birthday to also to Edem. This from Eagles Hub. And to Na Ashoko Mensa Doku. Shokobu, today is your birthday. We wish you a happy birthday. Shokobu. Shoko, why you coming more? It's your birthday. Reginald Dance. When Tuesday, I will mukunga. Why are you coming? Mr. Nyako, good morning to you. Reginald Dance, good morning to you. We'll see you tomorrow on behalf of the team. Thank you very much indeed for saying us. DJ Phil.